This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
Hello and welcome to Poynter Park for this week's Borders Rugby Special. We're here for the next 3 hours bringing you the latest score updates and live commentary from two feature matches today. There's the Premiership Play-off Final between Hawick, who finished top of the table, and Currie, who finished second. But also a massive National 1 top of the table clash between first placed Kelso and second placed Ayr. Just 1 point separating the sides with 3 games remaining. And as if that wasn't enough, Gala take on Melrose in one of the great derbies on the calendar. That's 4th versus 3rd at Netherdale, and we'll be certainly keeping you up to date with what's happening down there. But before we go to Mansfield Park, let's start with a chat I had earlier on this afternoon with Kelso Director of Rugby Neil Hinnigan on what is a crucial game for both Ayr and Kelso. No doubt this is a major hurdle to get over today.
Yeah, it's a big hurdle, Stuart. Really since we won through there, we've kind of been looking ahead a little bit when at certain times at the sort of Melrose Ayr game at home. I mean, everyone's talked about it and so on. So, yeah, we're finally at this one now, and they're absolutely massive game.
Huge effort to get this game on. Frost covers on, a lot of volunteers from the club.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You know, the community spirit's really high here at the moment, and everybody's getting behind the team and so on. And a lot of our second team players, you know, they wrapped up the league title last week for themselves, so their game was unfortunately off today, so they lended a hand with buddies and so on, and just everybody's mucked in to help. And you know, we took the initiative Monday to put the covers down. It was a massive effort to get them down. I mean, we didn't even have enough from the racecourse, who kindly lent us some covers, and we didn't have enough, but we made do with other things and farmers and so on, and we got there. So massive effort. So yeah, big thanks to everyone that helped.
How have you prepared for this game? Any differently to the others?
Not really, Stuart. No, we're quite a creature of habit at times. We trained Tuesday down the bottom there because the pitch was covered. We'd just done some bits of contact work and some set piece and bits and bobs, and sort of got a little bit of look at what we'd be doing that way. And then the Thursday was a team run shape, which we'd done along at Croft Park under the lights. So thankfully the pitch was playable along there Thursday night, so we managed to get a little bit out of that.
Now, going back to the Kelso match at Millbrae, they were well in control really in the first half, and then you got back into it and finally nipped it in the bud by 1 single point. So they'll be after revenge.
Yeah, they certainly will. I mean, you know, there's obviously nothing between the teams. I mean, it's the league table doesn't lie and so forth. So, yeah, up there we got ourselves caught a little bit. They used the wind, pinned us back, and we made some errors and let them in quite cheaply. But once they got in, you know, fair play to them, they took advantage. And yeah, about half an hour in, it looked pretty bleak for us there and then. We thought, you know, we'd be lucky to get anything out of the game, but the 10 minutes before half time, we really turned it on up front, scrums, line-outs, rolling mauls, physicality, and then really, I mean, there was only one winner from that point, I must admit. It was all Kelso, and once we got our noses in front, we were pretty composed. I think with 10 minutes to see the game out with a 1 point lead, and we did that up there, which is no mean feat. So I think, yeah, that and the Gala game, the two away games, Gala and Ayr to date, have been our two massive wins, I would say.
And talking about nipping away at Leeds, I mean, you know, they have been getting these bonus point wins over the last couple of weeks or so, and now it's just 1 point between you both.
Yeah, I mean, we let ourselves down a little bit last week. There was a few factors why we didn't get the bonus point win, and things didn't go our way, and then through our own problems and our own fault we didn't. And they obviously had a comfortable win against Biggar, and they've racked up a few points. I think they scored 49 points away at GHK, which is phenomenal really, because they're pretty good at home. So yeah, we've sort of started a little bit here or there. Obviously the Melrose game was massive. Any win was going to be huge there, so we weren't expecting, you know, we would have took a bonus point, but you know, the 4 points was all that mattered there, so we'll take that. Last week we probably dropped a point, but you know, if start of the season, if somebody said, look, we will be going into the third last game of the season, a point ahead at the top of the league, we would have took it. So.
He certainly would. Because it is very different, isn't it? We mentioned this the last time as well, that Kelso in the past we've been used to seeing them stave off relegation, and now you're top of the table. Yeah,
this is the thing. We COVID was a real reset button for Kelso, and that's when myself and got hold of Bruce and Kev, the coach, and the committee that was here at the time, and Scott Forbes was president, and we had this vision that we could change the culture. We felt that was the main problem at the club. We weren't getting the seconds team out regularly. The organisation was poor, the coaching was poor. There was loads of things going on, and luckily that COVID came at a good time for Kelso. I mean, it's for reset wise, and we started off, say, 22 months ago with this goal in mind that we could do something, and we weren't entirely sure how big or good we could be. We just wanted to give ourselves a platform to find out, and that's what we've done. Win, lose or draw, if we don't get up, Stuart, this club's had a massive turnaround, and that's the main thing. But it'd be great to get a real reward for it.
Yeah. Now I must mention just one player out of your squad today, Alan Frame, playing his last home game.
So he says, Stuart. So he says.
Well, we've heard this from Paulo Ferreira, haven't we? A couple of seasons ago.
Tight head props at his age. That the thing is, they're like Ken Steve, they're bad to find, and he'll still be in demand and whatnot. So. It may very well be his last game. He has said that to us. We don't know that for sure, but yeah, it's looking that way.
He certainly tweeted it out on his own account.
Yeah, he sure
unless
did.
Someone got hold of it.
No, he has indicated to the coaching staff and myself that this.
But it's your job to persuade him. Otherwise,
yeah, I mean, because this is a massive game, we've just said, look, Alan, that's fine. We'll talk about it later, sort of thing. So it's left hanging. Look, if it is his last game, he's been a great servant to Kelso over the years, and probably this season's been his best ever season, so that's why it'd be a shame for him maybe to not go one more. But look, if it is, and we'll adapt. But we have got young props coming through. We've got Morgan Thompson, Ashton Santi. Ashton's only 18. He's had a great first season up. So at the end of the day, we're planning for these guys not being here. We know they're at the other end of their career. So yeah, it's not a must-have to keep him, but we'd love to see him do a bit more, but we'll find out.
Brilliant. Well, we're not far away from kick-off now. We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Stuart.
Well, let's bring in head coach Stuart Fenwick now from Ayr. How was the journey down, first of all?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. Straightforward. It's not often that happens for us, travelling these distances, but yeah, no, everything's gone to plan so far.
And what's confidence like? Because, I mean, your last few fixtures, you started off pretty slowly. In fact, last week, two tries down early on, but you're always coming back and you always put on the gas and get your 5 points, and that is a big confidence booster.
I think for us, what the players have kind of been working really hard at is they get behind one another and we back each other and we talk about it at training. We're just going to keep playing the way we play. We accept we're going to make mistakes. One of the 10-0 tries, 2 tries last week down at Biggar, down at Milbrae, was a knock on our pass, and if that ball goes to hand, we're scoring first, but unfortunately it didn't on that occasion. I think for us the big learning as a young squad of players has been not to panic when these things happen. And just to move on and start the next job, and we're getting really good at that. That's been certainly one of the strengths of this squad this year.
I've been saying over the last few weeks that the big thing for Ayr is that if you are going to be champions of Scotland, you've got to do it the hard way. You've had to come for three trips to Melrose, obviously here at Kelso, and then you've got Gala in a couple of weeks' time. You're not doing it the easy way.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be, what fun would there be in that? No, I mean, it certainly is. It's a tough place to come any time of year, but coming towards the business end of the season, travelling away from home definitely makes things a bit more challenging. But for us, we're just going to get out there and treat it like any other game. We've prepared well for it and we're ready to go. It doesn't really matter where we are. We're trying not to focus too much on that.
Huge belief in the squad, isn't there?
Oh, definitely internally. Yep, I think that's. There's definitely a young group of players. We've got a couple of senior heads in there that have helped massively. And I think the big thing that the impact that they've had is on that ability to help players not panic, park things and move on from them, but just instill a bit of belief in that in the young players as well, that there's some really, really talented young guys within this squad, and they're hopefully going to kick on.
And a lot of determination within the squad as well, because of what happened against Kelso at Milbrae, where you had the game basically won and they came and pipped you at the post.
I don't know about one. We certainly on that occasion started very well. We came out of the traps well in the first 20-30 minutes and got our scores on the board. Kelso just started to impose himself in the game, and certainly their set piece was outstanding that day. It was certainly it made life very difficult for us, and it made it difficult for us to play the style of game that we enjoy playing.
And of course there's Ayrshire Bulls in the Super Series, and Heriots got their Blues team up to the Premiership, and so this would be fantastic for Ayrshire Rugby if you manage to get promotion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's we're really sort of proud about everything that we're trying to do, and we've got some real good visions of things that we want to try and achieve as a rugby club on and off the pitch, and how we can contribute to that community wider. But for us, it's about making sure we can provide quality play and rugby opportunities for our players, and this is an ambitious playing group that we've got just now, and they definitely want to try and kick on and play in that Premiership.
So where's it going to be won today? Because I know that the Pack, obviously everyone talks about the Pack, and they played a good game against you at Millbrae, but you've obviously addressed that in the coaching sessions.
Yeah, I mean, we can only do what we can do there. We are a small pack. We're not naive enough to think that that's not going to be an issue for us today. For us, it's about making sure that we stick to what we do best, making sure that we play the game with a bit of tempo and in the right areas of the pitch. And if we do that, we've got real belief that we'll get the job done. Well,
let's hope it's a good game. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
There we are. That is Stuart Fenwick, the head coach of Ayr. Both teams out in the pitch at Pointer Park at the moment. But let's head down to Hawick now and start our build-up through that match this afternoon, the Premiership Play-off Final between Hawick and Currie. And waiting for us there is Robin Purdy. Hello, Robin.
Good afternoon, Stuart.
Now, we were there last week. It was certainly a controlled performance by Hawick, and I expect they'll be right up for this one.
Oh yes, I spoke to Matty Douglas earlier on, and I've been in and around the Hawick players down pitch side there, and yet they look like men on a mission this afternoon. They're zoned in, and pitch looks great given all the work that's gone on. Currie look bang up for this as well, and it's sure to be a great occasion.
There's a swagger about the players. There was last week, wasn't there? Not an arrogant swagger, but a confidence that they can do this. And most of the team are Hawick boys as well, who've come through the system. I think it was 19, isn't it, from Hawick?
It is indeed, and you're right, it's a quiet confidence, I would call it, and that's the confidence that comes from going through an entire campaign unbeaten. 17 regular season wins, a draw in the regular season and a win against Mar last week here, of course, in the semi-final, and yeah, you're always going to have confidence after a series like that.
Now you've got Dale Clancy there with you. I've got Bruce Miller here, so we'll bring them both in. You were both there last year for the Currie game against Mar at Millennium Park when Mar became Scottish champions despite not finishing top in the league, and of course the same thing could happen today. The fact that Hawick are unbeaten in 19 games now this season is no guarantee that they'll make that 20, which is what they'll need to do if they're going to win the title and retain the Bill McLaren Shield, which has been there all season. So Dale, you've been there before, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think all teams, we've spoken about it in a bit of depth, but all teams know what they need to do to become Scottish champions, and Hawick have had a terrific season. They've went through, as Robin alluded to, unbeaten in the regular campaign. Currie almost did that last year. They got beat by Hawick in the opening game of the season and then went all the way to the final to get beat by the second team. So, lightning certainly can strike twice, but the teams know what they need to do. Currie have come off second best on 2 occasions against Hawick this season, and quite heavily so. But this is a chance for Currie to have a free swing at it. I feel the pressure is all on Hawick, because I don't think anybody's really expecting, a Currie win because of what's happened so far this season. But it's now, as we say, knockout rugby. It's a final, and it's going to be a huge occasion. And both teams, I think it'll be a lot tighter than perhaps the 2 games we've seen so far this season.
Of course, we saw the 2 fixtures earlier on. The Hawick went to Millennium Park and put 46 points on Currie, which just doesn't happen. And then, of course, the return fixture at Mansfield Park, another 43. So there'll certainly be confidence. I mean, we mentioned this on the Friday night programme last night, that that will be inside the heads, but they won't be sort of expecting to turn up and just get the win.
Yeah, but I think there's almost like a professionalism, if we're talking from a Hawick point of view, in terms of the games that they've played. They've snuck wins at sometimes, but winning is a good habit, and I just think it's one of those things that it's a mind battle as well. The top 2 inches are going to be really important for these players out in the park, but it's just one of those games. I think that it's going to come down to who wants it more, perhaps. I think in the games before, Hawick bullied them up front. They starve teams of possession, and then they've got the backs that can strike when the teams get a bit congested and a bit tight. Hawick have got the players to spread the ball wide and exploit out wide. Shows by the likes of, they've got a player on the bench with 9 tries this season. They've got a player starting on the wing with 9 tries this season. So the players out wide can score points. but it's a matter of who can get control in this game quickly, who can, retain possession, get good territory on the pitch, and then take their opportunities when they're on offer. Because Currie, again, no mugs, really good and strong in the back division, and their forwards have got a lot of experience in there as well, with a lot of up and coming players. So it's an intriguing battle. It's difficult to call, but you would say Hawick going as favourites, but it's just a matter of taking their opportunities.
Last week, of course, there were nerves at the start of the match from a Hawick perspective, but they seem to disappear after about half an hour.
No, they've got over 1,500 appearances in that team, throughout the whole squad. Currie have got about 800 appearances, so they've got a really experienced pack, and I think that team as a whole, and I think that comes back to what I'm saying about, when the games have been tight, they've got leaders and they've got young players with a bit of hunger, that can win games for them, and that's all over the park, that's all over the pitch, and it's all over the bench as well. They've got players with abundance of experience on the bench, and I think that's another area where Hawick perhaps hold the advantage, because they've got a lot more experience throughout the squad, but certainly on the bench, and this is going to be a 22-man game today.
Well, Robin, bringing you back in now, great efforts made to get that pitch ready for today.
Oh, most definitely, Stuart. Speaking to the ground staff earlier on, it's been Herculean, really. The townsfolk have been down, local farmers have been involved, the covers have been on, they've cleared snow from the covers with snow blowers, you name it, they've done it to get this game underway today. And as I mentioned before, the pitch is not just playable, the pitch is in fantastic condition, it's firm underfoot, there's grass on it, it lends itself to what is sure to be a fine game of rugby here. There's no wind, it's dry. I can't wait for this. It's going to be some occasion.
Well, I've got Bruce Miller with me. Bruce will be one of the commentators, thank goodness, for the match today. There was a bit of doubt. He was going to go to bigger earlier, but he has made it, I'm pleased to say. Graham Dodds will be joining him as well. But Bruce, over the past couple of weeks, we've heard Dale and Robin's and my views on the playoffs. Are they really necessary now, where there's a viable alternative on the table? Because the National 1, 2 and 3 table toppers at the end of the season will all be crowned champions. Why not Hawick?
Yes, well, you asked me this the last time I was here as well. I think we were at Selkirk, and I'll probably give you the same answer. I've read your article. This is maybe a lead up to you selling your own article here. I'm guessing one that you've written this week. I agree with about 99% of it. I have to say that
I missed out on that one.
I'll explain the 1% maybe in a minute. No, I think there's a strong argument for them as things stand, because it just keeps an interest in teams who are potentially could finish second, third or fourth, because you can have a league done halfway through a season, and it keeps it interesting for spectators as well as players. But if you could come up with a viable alternative, I mean, thinking of today's game, it would be an absolute travesty if Hawick were not to be crowned champions today, given the season that they've had. But all that it takes is one performance, a red card, anything, a refereeing decision, just anything, the bounce of a rugby ball, a little bit of nerves, which is bound to play into things today. I still think I agree with the guys. I think Hawick will probably win it, and I would imagine fairly narrowly. But it would be a real shame if they didn't. But that's the nature of playoffs. Lots of leagues around the world do it, and I think for the reasons that I've just said, it keeps it interesting for everybody. If your team has got a shout, I mean, when we were at Selkirk, in fact, if Selkirk had won, they had a chance to get fourth. So there was a little bit of excitement around that possibility as well, which sadly didn't happen. But if somebody, you for example, this week could come up with some other way of keeping things interesting, which you'll rather explain than me, then maybe we don't need them at all.
Yes, I mean, the idea, there are three things, aren't there, really, that the clubs at the moment want. They want no dead rubbers at the end of the season, or for as long as it can possibly be. They want they want the extra revenue from extra games and that sort of thing. Now, of course, my suggestion would be that if you actually crown champions in the Premiership and it's all the way down like it is in National 1, 2 and 3, you would have the whole season going on, but whoever comes in first plays the 8th team in the table for a cup competition, a separate cup competition, because the cup at the moment is broken. There's no doubt about that. We need to get it back, and I think if you've got an incentive, so you have 5 cups effectively, you've got the Premiership Cup, the National 1 Cup, right down to National 4 as it will be for next season, and that means that if each of the divisions have their own cup to look forward to. Then 1 in 5 will get a chance to go to BT Murrayfield at the end for a big, celebration of club rugby, which I think is a great incentive. 9th team, well, they're not relegated, but they could possibly go to a play-off, but that's another matter. 10th team relegated, and National 1, whoever wins that goes forward. So what you've got is no dead rubbers, because you're looking throughout the season to get your best seeding for the cup, and that's, I think, something which would tick all the boxes.
Yes, I think you're right. I mean, I'm going back probably quite a while ago now to when I was at Gala and we had the British and Irish Cup. So that's what kept things interesting. I don't think we had playoffs back then. No, we definitely didn't have playoffs back then, but there were 4 teams, if I remember right, went into the British and Irish Cup. So that served the same sort of purpose. And so yes, I think your idea is sound. It'll just be interesting to see if it's picked up on.
You did mention 1% though, that you weren't happy with.
I've changed my mind. You've convinced me, Stuart. I'm 100%
marvellous.
now.
That's great. Well, let's go back to Mansfield Park. Hopefully the boys are still with us. Are you?
We are indeed.
You are indeed, right. Well, let's go to Dale first of all, because we're going to switch to international rugby. Ireland tomorrow, the chance for Scotland to win their first Triple Crown for over 30 years, and a big milestone for Stuart Hogg, who reaches 100 caps. Phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. It was in the press, during the week, in terms of he's been Scotland's kind of first rock and roll superstar in the professional era, and he's been a mainstay in the Scottish team for a long time, and it's great to see another, a Borders lad get international honours. We've got Ross Ford, we've got Chris Patterson that have got amassed an immense amount of caps, but to add Stuart Hogg to that, who's been a world class superstar for Scotland over the years, is great. But it's a great occasion as well to try and turn that promise that Scotland have into a bit of success, because in terms of the rugby that we've been playing in the Six Nations so far, we have been one of the standout teams. We've been up there with Ireland and France, probably gave France a little bit too much away from home, gave them a good I've said we were probably the better team for 65 minutes, but for 15 minutes we were by far the second best team, and it's that 15 minutes that really kind of made us unstuck. We've lost that losing bonus point, so we do have to make sure we get maximum points out of the game tomorrow. So it's a huge task against what is the best team in the world at the moment, in my opinion. And obviously if you look at the rankings as well, it kind of paints that picture too. And Ireland's probably going to hit favourites, but it's going to be such an interesting game. It's been a while since Scotland have been able to play Ireland with something on the line, the chance to get that Triple Crown, and it could take it down to the last weekend as well, with 3 teams vying for the championship honours, and they're all playing at different times as well.
33 years ago that was the Triple Crown, which of course turned into a Grand Slam as well. Ireland are number 1 in the world. They will start favourites tomorrow, but can Scotland beat them? Because Ireland have become the bogey team over the past few years, and we saw last night as well, 82 points to 7, a drubbing for our under-20s. That's worrying.
Yeah, that is worrying. I think that there's been a lot of focus on the under-20s in terms of the pathways and the platform that we're setting up for them, but it's a completely different matter. You think that Ireland perhaps have been a bit of a bogey team, but Wales were as well, and this team have been able to deal with this opposition and these teams a little bit differently than they have in the past. I feel that there's a confidence, there's a belief inside that squad that they do have the players that are able to win games against the best teams in the world. Almost beating New Zealand, that's something that's been hanging over us for years, but you're getting closer and closer, and you're going to win games and you're going to lose some games. But the fact that Scotland are in a position where we're actually consistently competing against some of the best teams in the world, going down to Twickenham and winning, that's another one that was another ghost from our past that we're now able to do, not only an empty stadium but a stadium that's filled with fans as well. So this is a different type of Scotland outlet that we have now. We've got players of real quality, real ability, and it's it's a great opportunity for them to go out and test themselves and prove that in their vocation and in their job they're some of the best in the world.
Absolutely. Well, that's Dale Clancy and Robin Purdy down there at Mansfield Park at the moment. Now, just over half an hour away from kick-off in that game, and also here at Poynter Park. But it's the Premiership Final between Hawick and Currie. A lot of people will be focusing on today. Commentary coming up at 3 o'clock on that one with Robin Purdy and also Scott Tomlinson. But as Robin said, he earlier had a chat with both head coaches, Ben Cairns from Currie and, first of all, Matty Douglas from Hawick.
Matty Douglas, it all comes down to this. 19 games unbeaten, now the final. How are the nerves?
Look, I'm not going to lie, a little bit nervous, but I think it's a bit of excitement in there as well. everything's led to today. Started back in July in pre-season, and the goal was to win a Premiership. So we're here now. The way it is, we need to perform today to win. And look, it's just a great occasion for the club. I thought last week was big, but it's ramped up, times it by 10 this week, just around the town. And the effort to make sure the game was on, and look, the excitement's building with the players, and we're just keen to get cracking at 3 o'clock.
You mentioned the effort. I was going to say that. What an effort by so many today. I was on the pitch just a second ago. It's not just playable, it's in great condition.
Yeah, it's probably the best I've seen it in a long time. I don't think we'll be sheeting it every week though, but look, this morning when we came down, there'd be about 70 or 80 people turned up to get the tyres off and the sheets back, and look, I couldn't be any prouder of what we've achieved, and to engage so many people around the town again is a massive credit to that playing group. And today we're hoping for a big crowd.
And it's an unchanged lineup, I guess. After last week, the squad kind of picks itself, or was there a temptation to tweak anything?
Look, there always is. As a coach, you analyse it. Sunday we were straight on looking at the Mar game, and look, I'll be honest, in terms of attack and set piece, wasn't where it needed to be last week. And I know the boys were a bit frustrated, and that might have been just a bit of nerves with the occasion, but it was a great prep run last week. I think us and Mar are very, very similar in the way that we battle and the way that we defend, so to not concede a try last week was promising, and defensively we were on it, and we're going to have to be the day. I know Currie will have done their homework. They are one of the best teams in the league for analysing games, so. But that old cliche, nothing changes for us. We've done it all season. So, yeah, look, it was a great prep run last week. But, in terms of squad selection, you're right, it picked itself.
And a word for Charlie Welsh, who was outstanding in that semi-final. Selection for such a big game last week might have raised a few eyebrows, but he looked to the manner born.
Yeah, I think it did. I'm not going to lie. I think there was a few people questioned why we done it, but I'll always back my decisions, and Graham plays a big role in that with the back line, and look, Charlie just offers something a bit different on the wing, especially the aerial battle. I thought that's where he was key, and for us the game management and kicking game is where we get our gains. So look, but that's taken nothing away from Lewis Ferguson. He is a top quality player, and he'll make a big impact off the bench today.
And with an aggregate score against Currie over the 2 games of 89-32, is there any danger of subconscious complacency, if you like?
Yeah, look, we've touched on it this week and spoke heavily that form goes out the window today, and for us we're not really taking any of that into consideration. We've done it twice this season, but look, if I'm being honest, and Mark will be the same, that Currie underperformed those 2 games. So, but that's also a bonus for us because we know we can do it, and we just need to get that complacency out the head. And look, we're dialed in. We have been all week. We've trained exceptionally well, and it's one more game. It's 80 minutes, and it's if these boys are ready to do battle. And look, it comes down to this, and we've worked so hard this season, and it's how they deal with the pressure of the occasion. But look, I know these boys will be ready.
And you mentioned the crowd last week. It was probably the biggest crowd in a few years here at Mansfield, and there'll be even more today, no doubt. Just how inspiring is that for the boys?
Massive, and I touched on that to the players this week, that look, we're not just doing this for ourselves or the playing group. I'd like to think we've kind of got the town back on board with us, because for years and years we've battled relegations. I remember playing in play-off relegation battles to stay in the Premiership, and as a club of Hawick, this is the occasions that we want down here and that we want to be at. And look, the league campaign was massive, but the way it is now, we need to show we're the best team in Scotland at the minute. We need to go out and perform today, and that's a challenge, and these players are driven, and they're ready for the challenge that lies ahead. And look, it's not about building too much pressure on us, but I know if we get everything right and we bring a bit of energy to what we do, then we are a tough team to stop, and that's the big challenge today. Can we replicate that league form into a one-off game, and what better way than to do it at Mansfield Park?
Indeed. Well, Matty, thanks very much for your time, and from everyone at Borders Rugby Radio, all the very best today.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you.
So I'm joined by Currie head coach Mark Cairns. Mark, it's the top 2 teams in the land. Big crowd expected at one of the country's famous old rugby arenas. This is surely what the whole concept of playoffs is all about.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a big crowd here. It's great for Hawick to host it. It's going to be, obviously better for them if they win it. And we're here to spoil the party, I guess. But that's why people are going to come along and watch, because it's a great spectacle.
And some said last week's semi-win was your standout performance of the season, perhaps. As a coach, you must be delighted at that, given that it means that the boys are performing in a pressure situation.
Yeah, that's it. It might be the same. You see the talent these boys have week in and week out at training, and it's great to see it happen on the pitch, and that's what happened last week. So we'll be hoping for the same today, but just don't know. These occasions are different beasts, and the players haven't really got that much experience of it. So it'll be how we perform today, and there's a lot of variables there, so fingers crossed.
And it's an unchanged lineup featuring a back division where all bar one have played Super Six. Is that perhaps an area where you feel you could have an edge?
Yeah, listen, our back line is class. Like there's a lot of talent there, but it's our forwards who get us on the front foot. So we'll need to get those forwards in the game early, not just go wide to wide. So yeah, we want to unleash the talent we have in the backs, but it's the forwards that'll win us the game.
And as the founder of Coach Logic, very few people, I guess, will know more about analysing opposition than you. So with that in mind, have you been able to identify any chinks in the Hawick armour, which has been pretty steadfast this season?
Yeah, listen, every team has a weakness, and that's what we'll look to exploit. But most of the chat this week has been about us and how we can improve. We do feel we have the players, the talent there to give Hawick a really good run for their money today. So that's where our focus has been. But yeah, listen, we know about Hawick. We've watched them lots, but telling players or getting players to can analyse what the team. Where they can best exploit a team's weaknesses is one thing, and then executing the pitch in front of a big crowd in a massive game is a totally different thing, you know.
Well, you mentioned the big crowd there, and it could possibly be quite a partisan crowd here today at Hawick. Do you feel that if you got off to a fast start, then you could possibly turn that to your advantage?
Listen, the advantage we have, I guess, is there will be more Currie supporters down here than we normally get, you know. So we will have a vocal support, even if it's from a small section of the crowd, and we've got to use that to our advantage. And yeah, if we can get on top a little bit, or if we can keep ourselves in the fight and make it a tight game, then who's to say what will happen in the last sort of 5-10 minutes of the match? Yeah,
and you mentioned your own supporters. I believe there's 3 or 4 supporters buses running today, which is a great effort.
Yeah, totally. No, guys have done well. Mar did the same to us last year. They came down with a massive away support, and yeah, we've got a good support travelling down, which is great because a lot of these people. This is a rearranged fixture, so it wasn't like it was in the calendar. People could plan for it. So and it's obviously during the Six Nations. So it's good to see that we've got so many supporters coming down by bus and also by their own transport as well. Well, Mark, thanks very much for your time, and we wish you all the very best. Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers.
Currie head coach Ben Cairns, and before him the thoughts of Matty Douglas in charge of Hawick, and that Premiership Play-off Final coming up at 3 o'clock. Before all that explodes into life, we're going to bring you a highly entertaining interview I had this week with Richard Brown, Richie Gray and Pete Gallagher, who were all part of the Scottish school squad who toured New Zealand back in 1988. Richie and Richard were teenagers playing at the time, and one of the coaches was Pete Gallagher, who's approaching his 80th birthday, and he still coaches the youngsters at Duns, an incredible guy. Well, another member of the team back then was of course Doddy Weir, and as a tribute to Doddy, many of that squad have reunited and will be doing their bit next week to raise money for Doddy's MND charity. There were plenty of laughs as they recalled that tour, but first a word from Richard Brown on what they've got planned.
Our captain of the tour, Gary Kennard, got in touch not long after Doddy passed, and got a group together and decided we should do something. He meant a lot to us on that tour, and it's amazing how it's snowballed with guys coming from all over the world to take part.
And they literally are.
Well, they are. We've got guys coming in from Australia, Canada, Singapore, Gibraltar, France, Buzzles,
Duns and Gala.
And you've got plenty of good weather to look forward to.
Well, the worry is we've got a cycle next Thursday all day from the Carter Bar, which is quite special. As we know, Doddy got engaged there to Cathay, so we start there and we make our way back to Melrose throughout the day. We do have a little pint and a bowl of soup stop at Ancram. I'm worried about getting them back out on the bikes after that. And we do that all day Thursday, and then Friday we are hiking over the Pentlands into Edinburgh.
But how did you get these guys together? I mean, there's about 22 of the 25 or so players are going to be taking part in this. 2 sadly are no longer with us, but I mean that's a hell of an effort. You've obviously kept in touch since those days, 35 years ago.
Well, it's going to be interesting for me because most of them I haven't seen since they were stick insects at 18 years old. And all these years later, I think it will be difficult to recognise some of them, because I'm sure the shapes will have changed a bit. But the characters and the banter that's going on already on the WhatsApp group shows that the camaraderie is still there that was built up in 1988, and it's amazing to the response that there's been to this, and they're all desperately keen to come and meet up. And the stories will get exaggerated, of course, and it'll be interesting, really interesting.
Now, Pete, you obviously were in charge of the coaching with Rob Moffat back then. It was very young Rob Moffat, I would imagine, then, 35 years ago. So
you would hardly recognise him. He had a little moustache then, and he had a lot of hair.
Oh, I remember the moustache and all the video. Yeah. But, I mean, how did you control, Doddy Weir, Richie Gray, characters like that? Extraordinary times and some great memories.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't easy, obviously, because they were characters, but the other side of the coin was that they were desperately keen on their rugby. And so it wasn't too difficult to marry the two elements, that they wanted to be themselves and have a lot of fun, which was great, but they also wanted to concentrate on the rugby. And we knew it was going to be a very tough tour. And so it was easier for Rob and I to motivate these guys and to get them interested, and at the same time to let them have the fun that everybody wanted to have.
Now, Richie Gray here, the collision king himself. Back then, of course, let's just say it was a bit of a rough and tough tour.
Yeah, it was, and in some ways, and this is where I look at youngsters now that are playing the game, and don't get me wrong, the game's changed a huge amount since 1988, but we were still then, allowed to ruck, for example.
And
so
we're talking real rucking.
So you were talking 8 people going in over the top of who's ever on the ground, and it was just, that's what you did. And we were just speaking off air here that in the first game against Hannon Shield Schools, which I think are now South Canterbury, that's what they'd be called now, I can remember myself and Doddy deciding, right, listen, we're going to go for this, in a big way, and we went to this local sports shop and we bought these studs that must have been about 28-30 mil long, and we had the washers on to get everything sorted. So myself and Doddy decided that we'll take it upon ourselves to go for it, and I can remember afterwards we got beaten our first game, which was a real shocker, but they were going to send us home because of over vigorous play, and there was a legendary administrator called Archie McIntyre who came from Morrison's Academy. Very old school, I would think, ex-RAF. Great man, but just couldn't handle this, And I remember myself and Doddy got brought into the office, and you've let your families down, you've let yourselves down, the country down. We're seriously thinking of sending you home, and we're thinking, oh no, what have we done here?
After 4 days.
Yeah, after 4 days, but I think it was just to try to lay a marker down that, guys, we've got to. But, credit to Peter and Rob, within a matter of about, I would say, 7 to 14 days, because, as Peter said, we were keen, we loved our rugby, we just wanted to learn. Going to New Zealand, it was just after the first World Cup as well, which was just, the place was oozing rugby, You just had to get better, and we did, and we actually went on to have an incredibly successful tour, beat some big teams, and we just got better, And it's always lived with me, because you've gone on to coach, that there were certain things we did on that tour are still absolutely important in today's game. One of them's body height, and being able to be in control of your body, especially now when you're looking at the high tackle frameworks and you're looking at breakdown laws and whatever. It's still incredibly important on how we were trained. So Peter and Rob did a good job in getting a group of boys shipped into shape from all over Scotland.
We knew from the reports that we got back from New Zealand that it was going to be very, very physical. And Rob and I weren't convinced that these guys were really aware of how physical it was going to be. So the legendary, a couple of weeks before we went away on the back pitch at Murrayfield, we said to them, right, this is going to be a sample of what you're going to experience out there. Go and play for half an hour on that back pitch amongst yourselves with no rules whatsoever. No rules at all. You can do whatever you like. You can make it as physical as you like, because this is what you're going to experience. Eventually,
I said to Peter, it was the best half an hour of my career, my whole career.
And eventually it got so physical that the doc intervened and said, look, you'll need to stop or we're going to have nobody left to go to New Zealand. And we thought we'd given that sort of physicality. But again, as Richie alluded to, the very first game, we didn't know what had hit us. But fortunately, they were very keen to help us. And the very next day when we got out there, a Sunday morning with a priest with his collar on. I think he'd been to the church at 7 so that he could be with us at 10. And he gave us a service on Sunday morning of how to ruck and basically body height. Yeah. And I can recall there was a couple of pads and had big thick ropes round them at a certain height. And he told the boys, right, you just drive on these pads. Well, initially they were coming up with torn ears and blood across their forehead and everything because they weren't getting low enough. And they soon learned that if you didn't get low, you're going to be in the hospital getting stitched up. So the body height became better and better and better. And that was an area that we really concentrated on for the remainder of the tour, and it paid huge dividends.
Now, Richard, this challenge that you're doing, it's a mixture of walking, cycling as well, and obviously raising money as well. But I mean, more than that, you're just getting all the boys, getting the band back together again almost, isn't it?
It is. I mean, we've got, in addition to the challenge itself, we've got a few social events, as you can imagine, around that. So we start on next Thursday at the Carter Bar. We cycle to Melrose. We have a private dinner in the restaurant at Burt's on Thursday night. We then have a very early start on Friday, which might be challenging depending how the Thursday night goes. And then after our walk, once we get to Edinburgh, we have another dinner at the Scottish Malt Whisky Society. So I think that's allowed when you get to a certain age.
Absolutely. And I have to ask you if your favourite Doddy story. Start with you, Richard.
My favourite Doddy story is actually pre-Scottish Schools. It's back when we were playing at Melrose in the age group. And it was a tournament in France, in Orthez in France. Stirling County were there. I think maybe Kelso were there. We were there. And Doddy, we played against French teams and they didn't like the rucking at all. And then I remember playing against a Spanish side who were just dirty. And they spat on the front row as we were going down to scrum. And the next thing I knew, Doddy's huge arm, came from behind and walloped the boy. And that was it. It just set the tone for the day. And that was one of my earliest and favourite memories of Doddy.
Peter?
Mine is probably, staying on the tour theme. I recall, and I was just reminding Richie of this because he was part of it as well, but on an internal flight in New Zealand, I mean, Doddy was always life and soul of the party anyway on the tour, even at 18 years old. But we got on the internal flight. The flight had just reached cruising height when Doddy and his pal Richie here got up and took over. They got the hats off the air hostesses and they took over running the plane between I think it was, I don't know whether it was Christchurch and up to Auckland.
We ended up in Samoa.
And those were the days when you couldn't lock the pilot away, so he was a bit worried as well because the door kept opening. These two guys were just trying to get in, and I can remember somebody shouting, "Richie, don't touch any buttons. Doddy, don't touch any buttons in the cockpit." So yeah, I mean, and the good thing was all the passengers and the crew bought into it as well, and it was a great fun flight. And that summed up Doddy really. You just never knew what was going to happen next, but it was always fun, real fun, and it didn't offend anybody. Everybody just joined in.
I remember, just to go back to when we were 18, I was meant to get my first cap against England up in Glasgow, and I broke my coccyx bone in the bottom of my back on the Thursday, so I couldn't play, and that was it. And it was the night of the Melrose Sevens. We'd played England, wasn't a great result for Scottish Schools. In the English team, you had Martin Johnson and I remember Adebayo in the wing. These guys,
Steve Ojomo.
It was a quality English team. So anyway, Doddy had this old Datsun Stanza that he would drive around the Borders at about 120 mile an hour, and the back seat was changed for him so he could keep his legs at the length. But we went flying down the road because there was a disco, obviously, at Melrose Sevens. We wanted to get back down there as quick as we could, so we went in by Cortle Ferry Farm. Doddy said, "I'm just going to get changed and get the gear on for the Saturday night." So he came out with white trousers and a white shirt and a pair of black shoes, right? The good old all in white. And I'm thinking, geez, when all of a sudden Jock for the cow shed, says, "Listen, we're about to calf and I need a hand," right? So anyway, Doddy says, "Right, we'll keep the car running. So I'm standing at the side here, because obviously I'm a city boy for Gala. I'd never seen this happen before. And Doddy is literally arm deep into this thing, helping the father. Obviously the calf's born, fantastic. There's blood everywhere, and I imagine he's dressed in a white. I said, you better get yourself changed. No, I'll be okay. Went into the kitchen, washed his hand off in the dishes, right, that were in the kitchen, got literally into the car, drove down to Melrose. We got back there about 8, 9 o'clock at night. Disco just started. It looked like there had been a murder, right? And he didn't bother a jot, right? That was it. And, you know, obviously had a good night, and we've even met up with Fred and the boys, and they came back down, but that sums him up. But for me, Doddy Weir, you know, sadly passed away, but he has left an incredible legacy, you know.
Everyone's got a story about it.
Well, he has, and also I think there was a lot more to it than just raising money, and we used to discuss this a lot, and there's just so much more to it than raising money for MND. There's part of it, a huge part of it, is actually doing exactly what we're doing next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, is bringing people together again, and life's too short not to catch up, pick up a phone, go a walk with somebody that you haven't seen for 10 or 15 years, and for me, there's a sort of hidden agenda, I think, behind what he did. One was raising money for MND, and let's hope we find a cure, but the other one was bringing people together, especially in rugby. You know, let's be a little bit one-eyed for a minute on teams that you've played for, players you've played against, coaches you've been coached by, just keeping us all together, you know, connecting you all. And you know, we've sat for about 2 hours before we've done this interview. We could have spoken for another 4 or 5.
If only we'd recorded it.
Yeah, I know. I'm maybe glad you didn't. So, you know, there'd be a few beeps in there. But, you know, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about bringing us all together. And sometimes life's too short not to pick up a phone and say, hey, let's go out for a coffee, or let's go out for a couple of beers. And that's the key. And I think he'll be smiling on us, because I just know fine well that that's deep down what he wanted.
Now, Pete, what are you doing these days? I mean, you'll never retire. I mean, you're coming up for 80, if you don't mind me saying, and you're looking as fit as the other two. I can have to, and me certainly.
It's the Duns water, I think. There's something going on in Duns.
It's something to do with the air in Duns, right enough. No, yeah. I mean, I should really be stepping back a bit at my age, but like these guys, you know, I still enjoy it a lot. And the last thing I want to do is just sit back and put my feet up. So I'm trying to step back a bit, but I'm still drip feeding odds and ends into particularly the Colts. I'm focusing more on the 16s and the Colts as they come through, and I can add my tuppence worth there, but at the same time I'm trying to make sure that other coaches are developing and they can take over. And my wife, I'm not sure whether she'll be delighted if I step back or whether she's had 50 plus years of me being involved, and if I step back then that'll upset the whole rhythm of the last 50 years, so I'll maybe have to keep going for a wee bit longer.
And Richie, what did your father say about chairs?
My old father, yeah, it's funny, like, because Peter and my father played against each other, because my father's 82 and, you know, Peter's 80, so, you know, they know each other well and possibly knocked 10 bells at each other for many a year.
We did.
Yeah, my father's got a great saying. He says there's 2 chairs will kill you, the electric chair and the armchair. So you got to keep going, you know, in whatever you're doing, just make sure that you're always keeping yourself busy, active, your mind's always, you know, working. The minute you sit down and start looking at the television, it's all over, isn't it?
And just finally, of course, tell us how people can donate to this cause.
Yeah, so we've got a Just Giving page. The easiest way to find it is just go onto Just Giving and search for Doddy88, and you'll see we've got a number of updates there. There's some fantastic old photos from the tour, and it tells a story about what we're doing and why and who the characters are, and we're just grateful for anyone that can spare a few pounds and add to our total.
All the best of luck with it.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You're listening to Borders Rugby Special. Very entertaining that was, wasn't it? On Borders Rugby Radio, I'm Stuart Cameron. We're here at Kelso today for Kelso versus Ayr in National 1, the top of the table clash. We're also at Mansfield Park for the Premiership Play-off between Hawick and Currie. We'll be starting off there at 3 o'clock. But of course there's other local rugby going on today. Gala versus Melrose in National 1. Bragging rights at stake as they go head-to-head in National 1 at Netherdale. You'll remember early in the season Melrose beat Gala convincingly at the Green Yards in the league. Then Gala beat Melrose convincingly at Netherdale in the Waverley Cup. So who will win the third game, which is a 4th versus 3rd matchup in National 1? Let's hear from both Bert Grigg, Melrose's head coach, and First Maroons player coach Craig Dodds.
We take on Melrose this week, hoping that it can bring out another sort of big performance with us. Like we've had some good results over the last few weeks in terms of bonus points and tries scored and things like that. But we probably haven't played at our best. We'll certainly need to play at our best to beat Melrose. as always, it'll be a big occasion, so we'll be looking forward to it as a club. And like I say, hopefully we can get a win at home and keep sort of momentum going towards the end of the season and into the next in the sevens.
Yeah, obviously after a pretty disappointing performance despite the result last Saturday, setting out into what's a pretty big game for us away at Gala. Looking forward to the challenge as always. We know what these border derbies can be like. Boys certainly bring their A game for it on both sides. So yeah, sure to be a good game, weather permitting. Few changes for us. Sees return of Angus Runciman into the pack. Kit Buchan drops out unfortunately. And then in the back line, Bruce Colvin's picked up a bit of a niggle. He's unavailable this week, but we see the return of Connor Spence onto the wing to give us a bit more physicality and size in that back line. But yeah, all in all, looking forward to a good game at Gala.
Also today in National 2, Peebles host Lasswade. Berwick, their game is off against Preston Lodge, whilst in East League 3, all subject to the weather, all the teams are away, including Gallow IM at Trinity Accies, Earlston at Inverleith. In fact, that one's been postponed, so Earlston at Inverleith, that one is off. But Hawick Quins travel to play Edinburgh University Medics, and we can go there now with our reporter Hugh Brown.
Well, so far this season it's 9 wins out of 9 in the league for Hawick Harlequins, and they'll be aiming to maintain that unbeaten record today against the Edinburgh University Medics. There's some added friction between the teams because back in November the Medics beat the Quins in the final of the East League Bowl by 18 points to 12 in a hotly contested match. Captain Adam Hall and his teammates will want to lay that result to rest with a revenge win against their bogey team. When I saw Quins a fortnight ago, they struggled at times to get past a determined Edinburgh Northern side, who, let's not forget, are still top of the table, although Hawick do have 3 games in hand because of postponements. In team news, it's the same side that beat Edinburgh Northern 2 weeks ago for the Quins. So it should be a really interesting game, but I think that Hawick should emerge with another league win and hopefully 5 points. It's a sunny afternoon here at Peffermill for Edinburgh University Medics against Hawick Harlequins. Kick-off at 3 o'clock.
Hugh Brown at Peffermill. He'll be keeping us up to date with that important match for the unbeaten Hawick Harlequins. So much going on today, including here at Poynter Park for Kelso against Ayr, and also at Mansfield Park for Hawick against Currie. Just before we cross over to Hawick, a quick chat with Graham Dodds and Bruce Miller about the game today, building up nicely, and as usual, a nice big crowd here.
A great atmosphere already building here at, in the back of the stand at Poynter, and a lot of people down, a lot of locals down to support their team in this, the biggest game Kelso have had in a long time, and it's great to see so many people here, and I just hope from a Borders perspective that Kelso can beat Ayr this afternoon.
Well, Bruce, both teams have 2 games to play after this, so today won't actually give the winner the championship, but it'll certainly put them in pole position.
Yes, you would expect that whoever wins today would go on and win the title, win that single promotion spot, but as you say, there are 2 games still to play, and they've both got a really tricky game each. On the 1st of April, Ayr are at Gala, and Gala always said that when they dropped out of the title race themselves, that they would still have a part to play in it, and that would be a huge game. And Kelso have got to go up to Highland, who have only lost 1 game at home this season. I don't think anybody likes going up there. Melrose the only side to win up there, and I think it was 36-30 they won up there. So yes, still some rugby to be played after today, but we'll certainly would expect the winner today to be the champions.
Well, Graham Dodds, you've played against Ayr several times, some great clashes we remember for Melrose, of course, back in the day, and of course Ayr really are doing it the hard way. They went to Melrose and got the win. They're coming here to try and get the win, and then they've got in 2 weeks' time Gala. Yeah,
I mean, all credit to them. I was at the Green Yards when they pipped Melrose in the last few plays, and it was a game that Melrose should never have actually lost, but all credit to Ayr. They kept plugging away and got the just rewards at the end to put themselves in this position this afternoon. And as you say, they've worked really hard for it. Ayr are, they've been kind of dominant of club rugby over the last 15 years, I would say, and obviously with dropping down the league when the Ayrshire Bull Southern Super 6 team started, obviously they had to climb back up, and this is the next step for them.
Well, it's going to be a busy afternoon. We're not quite sure exactly how it's going to play out, but we'll be here for every step of the way. And let's start our live coverage this afternoon down at Mansfield Park in Hawick. Our commentary team is Scott Tomlinson, and first of all, Robin Purdy.
Thanks, Stuart. So this is it. This is the big dance, and by 5 o'clock we'll know who are going to be the top dogs in Scottish club rugby. Whether you're for the playoffs or against them, this is what the powers that be would have hoped for. A showpiece final between two top teams in front of a big crowd at a famous old rugby theatre like this. Quick run through the lineups for Hawick. There are no changes from last week. Kirk Ford's at fullback, with Ronan McKean and Charlie Welsh on the wings, Ethan Riley and Andrew Mitchell in the centres, Kyle Brunton's at 10 and Hector Patterson's the scrum half. Up front, Captain Sean Muir, Fraser Rennick and Nicky Little are the front row. Dalton Redpath and Connor Sutherland are in the middle row, with Stuart Graham, Callum Rennick and Jay Linton at 6, 7 and 8. Currie are also unchanged. Charlie Brett's at 15. The wingers are Cody McGovern and Ian Sim, and DJ Innes and Greg Canny make up the midfield. Jamie Forbes is at 10 and Gregor Christie starts at 9. Chris Anderson, Ryan Stewart and Cairn Ramsey form the front row. Will Ingalls and Ewan Stewart sit just behind them, with Ali McCallum, Gregor Nelson and Rhys Davis the breakaway trio. Michael Todd is today's ref, and he'll be assisted by Fergus Hollins and Mary Pringle on the touchlines. Scott Tomlinson's alongside me in the commentary box today. So, Scott, this has got to be the ideal outcome for those that vouch for playoff rugby, and it should be a great occasion.
Yeah, good afternoon, Robin. Good afternoon, everybody. What a tremendous atmosphere, isn't it?
Really is.
Yeah, no, it's been really good atmosphere leading up to the pipe band here, and a huge crowd. Stand is packed, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know, we're standing up here, I almost got a buzz between ourselves as well. Really looking forward to the game, and you know, Hawick looked very confident in the warm-up there just now, passing the ball really well. The pitch is in superb condition, and what an opportunity to again put a wee bit of history on top of Hawick's Rugby Club.
Indeed, Scott. Now there's going to be a minute's silence for 3 people. Sadly, in recent times, Ian Frizzle, the father of Hawick Force captain Sam, passed away, as did local teacher Catherine Scowler, and the father of ex-Hawick player Ian Griebenow, Alwyn Griebenow. So, Scott, between these two teams, there's been an aggregate score of 89-32 in Hawick's favour this season. For you, does that make them the resounding favourites, or does the form book go right out the window?
I think if you're a Hawick supporter, you'd be really looking forward to that. Would be the occasion, but it's not going to work like that, is it? I think the Hawick Park especially is going to need some parity up front today, just as much as what they've done in that last 2 games. And certainly if you can use Mitchell and Kyle Brunton and Hector Patterson, who've been playing really, really well at 9 and 10, then I think it should be a good outcome today. But Currie will have something to say. You know, Ali Donaldson and Mark Cairns are stalwart coaches, and they'll have these guys, Currie guys, fired up. The last thing they want to do is have one of those games where they had a couple of weeks ago when they got on the back a hammering, you know.
Absolutely. So here we go, the final of the tennis Premiership. It's going to be Currie to get us underway. Currie will attack the club rooms end here at Mansfield, and as Scott said, what a crowd, and it's been sent right down the middle of the park, controlled with the boot by Hector Patterson, the scrum half, and it's the first kick out of hand of the afternoon for Kirk Ford. So possession, Currie. Jamie Forbes has kicked that from his own half. Jamie Forbes, it almost went out for a 50-22, but it was taken in by a Hawick player, so the aerial ping pong continues, and that's a good clearance kick, and yeah, decent start, Scott.
Yeah, a really good kick with Kirk Ford, and then an excellent kick by Jamie Forbes to stand off, and it'd be at least a metre away from the 5 metre line, defensive line for Hawick, so it's a good start.
Yeah, the first line out of the day, thrown in by Ryan Stewart, the Currie hooker, and there's a half break on for Currie here. Plenty territory gained there, 30 or 40 metres, so here come Currie with the first meaningful attack. Out to DJ Ennis, the centre, ex-Super 6. Currie now out to the wing. Ian Sim, the ex-Melrose man, into the Hawick 22. First carry of the day for Ewan Stewart, the second row. Currie maintaining possession. Out through the backs, and Back into the heavy traffic comes their big prop, Chris Anderson. Into the Hawick 22, Currie, centre field. Oh, and that's a big hit by a Hawick defender on the onrushing Greg Canny. Strong defence by Hawick there. Forbes, that's gone to ground, but it's picked up by Gregor Nelson, and that's the first penalty after it was palmed down, and Currie have taken it quickly rather than up for the post. It looked to be a slightly high shot in there by Dalton Redpath, but Currie come again deep into the 22 now, 10 metres from the Hawick line, and there's another strong tackle in there by a Hawick player, but Currie maintaining possession, and there's the second penalty of the day, and Currie will be absolutely thrilled with this start, Scott.
Yeah, they're playing with a high tempo, aren't they? There's a couple of really good hits defensively by Hawick as well. I think it was Connor Sutherland made a huge hit in the middle of the park just underneath the post there in the 22. But you can see Currie's intention straight away. They're looking to try and play with a high tempo game.
Yeah, if that was the intention, a high tempo, then they've certainly shown that there. They've really burst out of the traps here, and forwards and backs, some of the big ball carriers getting into the action early.
And we had talked about Hector Patterson and Kyle Brunton playing 9 and 10, but also for the Currie side, Gregor Christie and Jamie Forbes are two very experienced players there as well, and straight away they were the ones that were dictating the tempo of the game.
Yeah, and so this second penalty in quick succession, Currie are going to have a pop at the posts, and it's going to be Jamie Forbes on the occasion of his 112th outing for Currie this afternoon, the PE teacher from George Watson's College. He struck it well, Jamie Forbes, and the flags go up. So first blood to Currie, and Scott, if anybody thought that Currie were going to roll up here and turn over and get their tummy tickled, then very much mistaken.
Yeah, that's just it. Exactly the start that Currie would want. And Hawick haven't even touched the ball yet. They're about to kick off again, and it looks like there's Fraser Rennick's down as well on the try line there, just recovering for a defensive tackle before. He's back up on his feet though again, and he's back into the game. Yeah,
back into the game, and that's a sight for sore eyes for Hawick, because you would not want to see such a talisman leaving the fray at such an early point in the game, but he looks good to go. So Kirk Ford, it's going to be the Hawick fullback, standoff turned fullback for Hawick. He sends it down into the 22 where it's taken in by a Currie player, that being their scrum half Gregor Christie. Set up just inside the Currie 22, so they'll be looking to clear their lines here, but they decide to rumble it up. Ever willing number 8, the captain, Rhys Davis. What a fine season he's had. Battle of the number 8s is going to be key, one feels today. Davis against the ever impressive Jay Linton. But Currie still content to truck it up just over the Hawick 22 now. The young blindside, Ali McCallum, ex-Edinburgh under 20, or current Edinburgh under 20 player, but that's been put in the box. It's taken in by that man, Jay Linton. Now here comes Linton, and he bumps off the first man, bumps off the second man as he so often does the third man and the fourth man. Jay Linton still going here, and he rumbles up to the 22. Crowd in raptures at that early carry by Linton. The penalty's coming to Hawick, so Hawick playing with a free ball here. And Jay Linton, Scott, my word.
Wow, absolutely wow. The crowd just got behind them. You can almost feel the hairs in the back of your neck stand up. He must have got a sit down in about 4 Currie players there, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he certainly sat the first one on his backside anyway, and he bounced off 3 or 4 more, and he made fully 30 metres up into the 22. He's earned Hawick the penalty, and it's going to be the first shot at goal for the league's top marksman from the boot, Kirk Ford. And what a start we've had.
Well, it's exactly what Hawick wanted though. Currie made a good start, they got the 3 points out of it, but as soon as Hawick went back down into the Currie side of the field, young Jay Linton took it on and got the crowd in behind him.
Yeah, and there's also been a Currie man yellow carded there, so...
Oh, I missed that one. I've no idea what that was for.
We were in raptures at Jay Linton, but there's been a yellow card, so Currie down to 14 for a 10-minute period as Kirk Ford sizes this one up, begins his run up forward, strikes it well, over she goes. So we're back level here, 5.5 minutes gone. It's Hawick 3, Currie 3, and great start to this game.
Yeah, it's great. The atmosphere is absolutely tremendous, isn't it? But Jay Linton, you cannot underestimate how hard that is to do, that carry that he done. He must have made 25 metres. Currie players bouncing off from left, right and centre. It was superb to watch.
Yeah, and it certainly gave the home faithful something to cheer about after the early Currie penalty. And Scott, it's a long time since I've seen a crowd of this size at a club rugby match in Scotland.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would be a wee laddie when I came to watch my dad play rugby there the last time. The crowd was as big as what it is today, and it feels like a cup atmosphere. You know, you can see it. It's been building all week in the press and through social media with Hawick, and Hawick have done a tremendous thing with trying to get the kids involved as well.
Hawick 3, Currie 3.
Back to Pointer Park now because we have an early score, Bruce.
7 minutes into the game and very much against the run of play. Kelso have taken the lead. Frankie Robson try. Dwayne Patterson just standing over the conversion. So we'll just bring Graham Dodds in shortly. We'll wait for this conversion. A hush over the crowd here, and a huge crowd really getting behind the Kelso side. Strikes that nicely through between the uprights. Kelso 7, Ayr 0, and Graham Dodds lots of talking points already in this game.
Yeah, I think the main thing was that the turnover underneath the posts of the Ayr attack. You know, they were looking really strong position. One thing we commented on as a commentary team there, Bruce, was that Ayr probably should have had a penalty try where that rolling maul got collapsed anyway. Penalty only. Kelso got away with one there and kicked their lines, and then from the resultant scrum, you know, great play for Dwayne Patterson. What a finish with Frankie Robson. He thought 3 times he was tackled and going to be brought down, but he just kept the legs pumping for the score.
We certainly thought the battle of the 12s, Frankie Robson against Jamie Bova, would be key today, and the 2 number 8s, Bruce McNeil and Pete McCallum, but it was certainly a shaky start by Kelso. They allowed the kick-off to bounce. They conceded 3 penalties, and as you say, I think there was a strong argument for a penalty try for Ayr. But, Ayr now with a chance to get themselves on the board. It looks like Jamie Bova will be the kicker today, just waiting on the ball. Well, he's got the ball, he's waiting on the tee. It's coming on. But yeah, I say there's some huge clashes when you look through the teams today. I picked out the 8s and the 12s, but they're two quality sides.
Yeah, absolutely. The 8s was the one that struck me on the way down, looking at the teams. And you know, Pete McCallan's been around a long time, and we all know what Bruce McNeil's capable of, and still going is ever strong at 38-year-old that he is. But he wouldn't know it. You know, he plays like a 21-year-old. And yeah, we talked about the back lines as well, and Frankie Robson's certainly got the one over on Bova so far.
Well, Bova struck that well, but it fades past the left hand upright, much to the relief of the crowd. So it remains Kelso 7, Ayr 0, almost 10 minutes into this Tennent's National League Division 1, third last game of the season for both of these sides. It's Kelso who hold a slender advantage at the top of the league table, 83 points, Ayr on 82. That's Liam Herdman, I think, there with the 22 dropout taken by Ross McCorkindale, who just sends that one up into the sky. That's an athletic leap there by Herdman, who gathers that midway between the Kelso 22 and 10 metre line. Kelso looking to just shift to kick that one. It's across, in fact, to Dwayne Patterson and Herdman, both with the grey headgear on, just to confuse me. The clearing kick just down in front of us here on the Kelso 10 metre line. Kelso playing from left to right towards the changing rooms here at Pointer Park, and you'll hear the cheers of the crowd there as that's been snaffled by Keith Melbourne from the Ayr throw-in. Back it goes to Murray Hastie, and he just tries to dink that one over the top. It catches Ayr fingers on the way over, but can't quite control that one. Ball lost by Ayr.
Yeah, I think, you know, from a Kelso point of view there, Murray's got to do a little bit more in his own half there. Probably go to keep territory. You know, you've gone 7-0 up probably against her on a play. Take your punishment there and just send it into the corner. You know, he was trying a little fancy dink over the top, but on another day it comes off, and he's, you know, we're giving him the plaudits up here. But I think just at this stage of the game, you know, you're trying to find your feet a little bit. Kelso, it's been quite a scrappy start from both sides, and you know, it'll be interesting to see this first scrum of the game, Bruce, who gets the upper hand, because that was a big thing at the Hawick Mar game last week. You know, where a lot of it came from set piece. You know, that was an important bit in that game, and the same will be this afternoon.
Kelso front row of Grant Shields, formerly of Newcastle Falcons and Edinburgh Rugby, Charlie Marshall and Alan Frame. It's a good solid scrum picked up at the base by Bruce McNeil, who was only heading one way, and that was straight into Jack Anderson. The Ayr standoff makes a good tackle, and then Andy Tate just sends it straight back to Herdman. Sends it off downfield, taken at the back by Scott Watson, the Ayr fullback. That's a good touch finder there. Bruce McNeil trying to tell the referee that I'd gone straight out in the full. Of course, the poor referee here, no assistant referee. So
it's not like him, is it?
Not like him at all. That clearly bounced in the field of play, and it's one of these games that you feel the referee would probably appreciate some assistance from the sidelines. It would be a lonely place at times for Scott Cubitt out there. But a good kick from the Ayr fullback. And it'll be a Kelso line out just outside their 22.
Now, I just wonder, from that set piece there, from a great carry from Bruce McNeil, and then that big sort of 15-yard pass back to Herdman, and all his players are offside, so they can't compete for that ball. I just think, if he sits a bit flatter, then they can at least compete for the ball.
Well, good take at the line out by Kelso. They drive themselves 3 or 4 metres forward. Andy Tate screaming at the forwards. Then he asks for the ball off to try scorer and captain Frankie Robson, who carries a metre or two, gets a bit isolated. Alan Frame comes in with a clear out. And the referee happy with that. Here would feel that they had hands on the ball there, and once again Kelso send that long, just a little bit too far. Scott Watson takes it cleanly, finds his winger Zach Howard and takes off away down that right flank. Jamie Bova now accelerates into contact, tackled well by the Kelso defence, up onto the Kelso 10 metre line, and that's the 4th penalty of the game against Kelso.
That's against Andy Tate there. He kind of thought, you don't think the ruck's formed and you can come in from anywhere, but the ruck was clearly formed. There was 3 players down in front of him, so it was definitely ruck formed, and Andy Tate got done for coming round the side there. But I think Kelso just need to calm down a little bit, get some possession, build some phases, build themselves into this game. They've got the good start that they'd be after. Kev Hutt and Bruce before the game would be at them. Let's get a solid start. We want to be ahead after 20 minutes, and they're 7-0 up. Build into this game.
The throw again, stolen. Keith Melbourne in the middle of the Kelso line out there. And again, Andy Tate just digging for that. Maul collapses. Right, what's been snappled by Ayr there and up into the Kelso 22. The tackle made about 6 metres short of the Kelso try line. Out it goes to Rohan Potty. Angles across field. Goes through the first tackle, dragged down, and I think that has been stolen by Kelso now. Just under the shadow of their own post, yes. The referee's going round onto the Kelso side, so Kelso survive again if Murray Hastie can send this off his left foot. Doesn't find touch though. It'll be taken on the Kelso 10 metre line. And again whipped across to Scott Watson, who sees a space. Well, he thought he saw space in behind. There's not. There's now space in behind the Ayr team, and that was spotted by Liam Herdman. He sends a lovely ball deep into the Ayr 22. Back goes Danny McCluskey. That's a good chase as well by Kelso. 3 players up there, so all Ayr can do is send that back down just about to halfway. Dwayne Patterson now puts boot to ball again. Kev Dryden a little bit offside there as he's coming back. Kick tennis here, and that evades the clutches of Greg Ponton and rolls into touch here.
OK, let's go back to Mansfield Park at Robin Purdy.
It's a penalty for Currie. It's going to be Jamie Forbes, centre field. 40 metres, I would reckon, from the posts. There's been some huge hits in this game so far, but Hoyt coughing up the penalty on that occasion, so it is going to be Forbes looking for his 2nd penalty of the day. Begins his run up. Struck it well enough by the looks of things. Looks good from here, and the flags go up once again. So 2nd penalty of the afternoon for Jamie Forbes. It's Hoyt 3, Currie 6, and give us your thoughts so far, Scott.
Yeah, that was disappointing there. Callum Rennick had a great turnover there, and then he took off and he got himself isolated, and Currie turned him over and received the penalty for it. I think there was just a situation just there before where Kyle Brunton tried to stick it into the corner, which it might have been better. It went straight out. It might have been better just to retain possession and just continue getting the phases where the game played through Hoyt. So at the moment it's been predominantly Currie, to be fair, and that will be concerning the Hoyt bench and the coaching staff at the moment.
Yeah, Currie have certainly come to play, that is for sure, and that's another big carry, this time from Will Ingalls, the 2nd row. Forbes this time puts boot to ball. Jay Linton is back here for Hoyt, and it's bounced deep into the Hoyt 22. Now it's going to carry actually all the way over the line, but Hoyt have decided to play it, and it's Kirk Ford. Ford sends it down the park, and it's a territorial game now for Currie, Scott.
Good management by Currie, isn't it? Sticking it in the faraway corner, letting Hoyt play out of there. It's I think Sean Muir will just pull them together. There's a wee stoppage in play just now. I would like to think they pull them together and just try and create some phases of play, try and get some confidence on the ball and get the crowd behind them again.
Yeah, and let's remember that Currie were down to 14 men for a period, and that's them literally just back up to the full quota, so they've weathered that well, Currie, and it's going to be a Currie line out just outside the Hawick 22. Not the cleanest as it comes back to Christie, but Christie's done well to mop it up. The Currie scrum half, brother of Gregor Christie, of course, the All Black scrum half, no less, and more big tackles in there, this time on Chris Anderson, the Currie prop. Christie's at the base again, and it's their live wire open side flanker Gregor Nelson's turn to take it into the contact. Forbes looking for this dangerous back division. He's found Brett, and Brett's chipped it forward. This time it's taken in well by Kirkford, and he's marked that. And
fantastic play with Kirkford. That's twice or thrice now that's happened, and Kirk's been in exactly the right place at the right time. So basically he's reading the game as if he was a standoff playing in that fullback position.
Yeah, and at the start of the season there was a few raised eyebrows, Scott, when Hawick trotted out for the first game with Ford at 12, I think he was, and Kyle Brunton at 10. But what did those that raised the eyebrows know?
You've got Kyle there at 10 and Ford there at 10. You've got Bailey Donaldson as well there at 10. You've got a wee bit strength and depth in that position. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so Hawick have cleared their lines right up to halfway. It's going to be a Currie line out on the far side, a sizeable travelling support from Millennium on that far side here at Mansfield, and it's a line out right in front of them. Hawick have stolen that, palmed off the top, back in the hands of Linton. Linton takes off, and Linton bumps headlong into the first man. Big collision there. Patterson to Sean Muir. Sean Muir with his first meaningful carry of the afternoon. Brunton to Ethan Riley. Riley to Mitchell. Mitchell's thrown that forward. It's been knocked on by a Currie player. And again, Scott, you mentioned about the phases.
Yeah, that was a lot better though. Ethan Riley just swapping positions with Mitchell, and Mitchell hitting up. He would have been better just driving the leg and get some leg drive going forward there. Unfortunately, he tried. It was a poor tackle, and he tried to offload, and it just wasn't quite on.
Yeah,
just in front of the stand side for us.
And it's going to be a scrum to Currie just inside their own half. Just how impressed have you been this season, Scott, with Ethan Riley, who arrived last summer? He's really added a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, sometimes teams just need one or two little players to make that difference, and he certainly seems to have been the case with that there. We all recognise that Mitchell is a strong runner and a good rugby player. It certainly brought Brunton on as well, but Ethan Riley certainly has brought that wee bit dynamism there. He also is able to pass the ball off both left and right hands, and he's definitely made a difference to that Hawick back division. Yeah,
as the ball squirts out the back of the Currie scrum, and it was Ian Sim, the winger, who mopped it up. But the Currie backline again looking relatively dangerous here, and that's a clever kick being put through by Charlie Brett, and Hawick are going to do well to marshal this. It's been taken back in, and it's been fumbled over the line. We're waiting to see what the referees deemed that it's been touched down. And is that contentious?
No, the way I'm seeing it, I don't know if you were I definitely seen Ethan Riley touch that ball down on the far side of the field. Charlie Welsh wasn't going to get there, but Ethan Riley definitely did. Really good defending.
Yeah, so it's going to be attacking scrum to Currie. It remains Hawick 3, Currie 6.
Back here at Poynter Park, 7-0 to Kelso at the moment, 20 minutes gone, but a penalty for Kelso.
Yes, Dwayne Patterson lining up what should be a fairly straightforward penalty kick. Currently Kelso 7, Ayr 0, 20 minutes played. So just slightly to the left of the uprights, so the right side for him. He's taking his time, and again a hush come over the crowd, but it's certainly been very noisy in the opening quarter of this one. Steps up, catches that nicely, never in doubt, through between the uprights. Kelso 10, Ayr 0.
No, we said in the last time we were on air, Bruce, that Kelso had to build herself into the game, and that's exactly what they've done for the last 3 or 4 minutes. They put phases together, and eventually they've got the rewards. Fair enough, it's not a try, but they did enough. They put their defence under the amount of pressure. They gave away that penalty in front of the posts, and Dwayne Patterson wasn't going to miss that one.
So Ayr, having had the better of the opening exchanges, find themselves trailing 10 points to 0. That was sent long from the restart by Jack Anderson, taken by Kevin Dryder over the far side. This charges into contact, takes the ball out of the 22. Andy Tate just working it back through the forward's legs and sends that one high. That'll come down on halfway, taken by McCallum. No, in fact it's Cameron Rees, the captain. It'll be Ross McCorkindale who took a sore one. It looked like he was going to have to leave the field of play, but seems okay to continue. It was 2 or 3 minutes ago, and he's just calling players round the corner. Rory Sace, a little bit of experience at Super 6 level in its first season, currently with the club team. Dummy thrown there, and Ayr take it up over halfway. In come Kelso hands. Andy Tate trying to win that one, but they've got some numbers down this stand side touchline. taken into contact by John Fulton. Again, the cries of the crowd. I think the referee's going to get an awful lot of peace today. Jamie Bova clatters into contact there. And double tackle. Kevin Dryden again involved in that one. And Jack Anderson back standing on halfway, decides to put boot to ball, just sends a low kick through and beats Greg Ponton and rolls into touch on the Kelso 22.
I think Kelso will be quite happy with that. They've forced Ayr into a kick and quite a good attacking position on the field. 40 yards out, 15 yards in from this touchline here at the stand at Poynter. And from a defence, they'll be really chuffed at the really pretty solid, come up on a good line there, and a couple of little sniffs at the Jackal turnover, not successful, not giving away a penalty, but now the chance to get possession back.
So Charlie Marshall to throw into the Kelso line out. Bit of movement taken cleanly by Keith Melbourne in the middle. The Kelso line out has looked strong. Stolen one of the Ayr throws. 100% record on their own. It's a bit of a scrap for the ball in there, and I think, Bruce McNeil comes up with it. Tackled by Cameron Rees, the Ayr captain. Again, the crowd and the Ayr bench appealing to the referee for anything and everything. Well, Andy Tate looks like he will take on kicking duties here. Shielded by Cammy Thompson, sends that one high. It'll make its way just over halfway, and it was allowed to bounce by Zach Howard, and that goes into touch. Well, that's a great clean kick, in fact, by Andy Tate. It's gone into touch past, just about on the Ayr 10-metre line, and he had a chance to catch it there. The Ayr winger, I suspect he wishes he had.
Yeah, one of those ones where you're not sure if it's going to land in the field of play or not, but great kick from Andy Tate. You want to keep that ball in the 5-metre channel and put your opposition under pressure, and he certainly did that with that good kick.
Untidy line out by Ayr. Kelso almost getting hands to it, but it does come back on the Ayr side, and Ross McCorkindale is gearing up for a kick here. Sends that one skyward. Doesn't get an awful lot of distance on that, and in fact direction all wrong as well.
Well, just before we go back to Mansfield Park, let's bring you up to date with the scores. At the moment it's Hawick 3, Currie 6. In National 1 it's Gala 21, Melrose 7. Melrose took the lead with a Will Ferry try, but 3 tries now all converted for Gala down at Netherdale. 21-7 to them. GHK 12, Dundee 7, Highland 0, Watsonians 10. Here it's Kelso 10, Ayr 0, and we're still waiting from Stewart's Melville against Stirling. In National 2 it's currently Cartha 7, Falkirk 14. It's Kirkcaldy 7, Boroughmuir 3, and Peebles, after taking the lead with a penalty, now behind at home to Lasswade. It's Peebles 3, Lasswade 7. And in the East 3 match, Edinburgh University Medics 3, Hawick Quins 5. Let's go back to Mansfield Park, Hawick against Currie in the Premiership Final.
And you rejoin us with a Hawick line-out which has been stolen by Currie. It's been all Currie, you have to say, so far in this game. It remains Hawick 3, Currie 6. Most of the play being played in the Hawick half, and Currie have broke the line a few times, but the solid Hawick defence, as it's been all season, has stood firm so far. But here come Corrick Currie again. That was a big hit once again on the Currie number 13, DJ Ennis, but Currie have regurgitated possession, and another hit, this time by Nicky Little, who flew up on Ryan Stewart, the Currie hooker, ex-Peebles of course. So Currie just inside their own half. Christie again feeds Forbes. Again another little bit of space is opened up, and the prop rampages through it. It's Chris Anderson up towards the 22, and here Currie come again. Canny's got Ennis. Ennis takes on his man, he's beat his man, and Currie are in here. First try of the afternoon to Currie. It's Ian Sim and Scott Tomlinson. That's been coming.
Yeah, it has. Hawick have been reeling the back foot. Excellent work with DJ Ennis, and then the scoring pass to Cody McGovern in the corner there. But you're right, Robin, it has been coming, unfortunately.
So Ian Sim it is. Currie went from deep there from their own half. Huge open prairie appeared in midfield, and the prop was only too keen to rampage through it. Sim has gone in at the corner, the kicks to come. It's Hawick 3, Currie 11.
And that's a key point. There seems to be a lot of holes in the Hawick defence at the moment. I think Hawick, their line speed has been excellent right throughout the whole season, but there seems to be holes this afternoon, and Currie are exploiting them. Obviously a lot of hard work done by Mark Keynes and Ali Donaldson over the week has exploited those holes this afternoon.
Yeah, there looks to be a game plan from Currie, and that appears to be it. You're absolutely right. Dwayne Patterson has just scored a penalty over at Poynter to take the scoreline to Kelso 13, Ayr 0, as the conversion from Jamie Forbes is about to be taken here. It's Hawick 3, Currie 11, kick to come, 14 or so minutes remaining in this first half. Premiership final here at Mansfield Park. Biggest game of the season, biggest crowd of the season. Forbes begins the run-up, difficult kick, stand side. Struck it well enough, Forbes, but it drifted to the right of the uprights, and Hawick have got something to think about here.
Yeah, they certainly have. It'll be interesting. The captain pulled them all together, Sean, and he's really got to need to try and get their hands on the ball and serve Hawick Currie a possession, certainly till half time anyway, and try and get some possession inside the Currie half.
Yeah, and aside from the rugby, there appears to be a significant snowball fight happening on the far banking here at Mansfield between the travelling Currie supporters and some Hawick youths. More on that to come, but the kick-off's been taken. It's been knocked on, however, by Rhys Davis, and there's another big shot in there. It's just getting a bit feisty, Scott.
There is a lot of big shots going on, and Hawick just need to keep the head a wee bit. It's all important to make these big shots, but we need to make them stick. No flying arms, just concentrating. We're now inside the Currie 22 with a scrum, attacking scrum, and that's the most important thing now.
Yeah, kick-off was taken by Kirk Ford, and it was fumbled by the usually reliable number 8, Rhys Davis, one of Currie's players of the season.
Yeah, he's a strong player, isn't he, Rob?
Yeah, 101st outing in a Currie jersey for him this afternoon. So as Scott says, Hawick scrum, 10 metres in from the stand side, right on the Currie 22, and as good a attacking platform as Hawick have had so far in this encounter. It's going to be Hector Patterson, ex-Jed Thistle, to feed the scrum. Hawick potentially looking to run a set move here. It's a good attacking platform from which to work as the scrum nudges forward. Actually, will they keep it in there? The referee's arm comes out, so free ball once again at Hawick. Patterson's caught at the base, and yet the referee's going to bring them back for the advantage, and that's just what the doctor ordered.
And that's the parity that they need. They need to concentrate on what Hawick are good at, and that's a scrum ball and line-out ball, and sucking the life out that Currie Park. But I noticed when Hector got tackled there was a bit of roughing up went on the Currie side as well, so it's obviously in their game plan as well to annoy and put pressure on that 9 and 10 channel, the Hawick channel.
Yeah, and the eminently kickable for a marksman of Kirk Ford's quality anyway, the eminently kickable penalty has been put down to the corner, so it's going to be a Hawick line out 5 metres from the Currie line, stand side here at Mansfield. Fraser Rennick, ex-Super 6, real talisman for Hawick. It'll be him to throw in. He has a quick chat with his captain Sean Muir, and in it comes. Plays it safe to the front, Redpath takes it, now the drive comes on, this traditional, stereotypical Hawick rolling maul, but it's been well defended by Currie, so back it comes to Patterson. Patterson has got Jay Linton carries it up, Jay Linton inches towards the line, dragged down just short. Fraser Rennick, he has a nibble at the line as well. Patterson's going to go in and feed this. Patterson this time to Sean Muir in the shadow of the Currie post now, still 3 or 4 metres from the line. Well marshalled by the Currie defence, Sean Muir, but another penalty has come Hawick's way right under the sticks. And Scott, I ask the summariser every week, what would you do here?
I would take the scrum. With the dominant scrum that they've just had, I would take the scrum, but you know what, it's a final, it's a Premiership final, they're taking the scrum.
Yeah, they are taking the scrum, it's right in front of the post.
But that's been a lot better by Hawick there, the continuity, keeping possession, taking their strong ball carriers to the line. It's a lot better by them.
Yeah, and it's the first real possession in territory that Hawick have had, in fairness to Currie.
Yeah, and we've got 10 minutes to go before half time, so it just shows you how strong Currie have been in that first 30 minutes.
Yeah, fair play to Currie, who many thought they had their strongest out of the season last week in the semi-final, so they come into this in form. They put Edinburghi's to bed quite comfortably as the two front rows come together. So, scrum to Hawick, fed by Patterson. Is the shunt going to come on? It does. Inching forward, but the scrum front rows pop up, so it's going to be reset. Hawick 3, Currie 11.
Correct tactics by Hawick though. Good strong scrummage. They definitely got the ascendancy in the scrum.
Yeah. The referee's having a chat with the front rows now. Just about to come together. Your thoughts on who's got the upper hand in the snowball, Scott?
I think it's the young Hawick kids are certainly winning that battle, I think.
Yeah.
There must be about 50 to 60 kids throwing snowballs at the Currie supporters.
Yeah, I would say they've got the upper hand. They've got numerical advantage in fairness to Currie, But here comes the scrum. Front rows come together. Again, Hawick look to keep it tight, inching forward once again, and the referee's arm comes out once again, so another free ball. Patterson to Brunton. Brunton dummies and goes. Brunton hauled down a metre or so from the line. Hawick forwards coming round the corner. Patterson. This time it's offloaded, and Fraser Rennick. Oh no, it's been turned over by Currie, so the referee will he go back
that
for
must
the
have
penalty?
been very close to
Very
Rennick.
close indeed.
My apologies, Fraser Rennick.
Fraser Rennick, that's right, and it was Stuart Graham with the initial carry, so the referee brings them back to the place where they were
so
a few seconds ago.
We're back to 3 penalties on the trot underneath the Currie post. The referee must be thinking about some form of card or some. I would imagine Sean will want to take that scrum again. I think again they had the ascendancy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Scott. They were always going to take the scrum there.
You have to. The pressure's on Currie now. They must be able to drive straight and not collapse this scrum. Most important thing, or it'll be a yellow card and it'll be a penalty try under the post, which is 7 points nowadays.
Yeah, you wonder just how long the referee's patience will remain. Michael Todd, the man in the middle this afternoon. The front row is just about to engage, and that's them together now. So Hector Patterson to feed. Jay Linton at the base. Bit more firm from Currie, but it's starting to move now for Hawick. The crowd, no, the front rows have come up and it's going to be reset.
There was a better scrum by Currie there. It just didn't move there for Hawick at all.
So here we go again, take 4. And yeah, do you feel Hawick need to come away with something here, Scott, even 3 points?
7 minutes to go. I think it's really been the only bit of phase of play that they've had, any possession that they've had. He had a good driving line out as well that then reoccurred into these set of scrums here just now. I think it's vital we take away points from here to go back up the field again, and this will worry Currie if the scrum continues the way it is and the dominance that Hawick are creating.
Yeah, Hawick have certainly got the dominance as it stands at the moment, and again the front rows finally come together. So again Patterson to feed. In it goes. Solid again from Currie. So Patterson's going to go in and play this. Patterson to Brunton. Brunton's got a runner in the shape of Ethan Riley. Riley up 5 metres from the Hawick line, and Patterson's been caught there and he's knocked it on at the base.
I have my doubts about that. I was under the impression you weren't allowed to touch a scrum half unless he lifts that ball, and they went over the top and got a hand to Hector Patterson, and Hector Patterson knocked it on. It's a turnover, Currie ball.
Yeah, and a wee bit of a body blow to Hawick that. They were knocking on the door, and they probably have not been in this situation all that often this season, Scott.
Just a wee bit patience required as well. I think everything's at 100 mile an hour just now. Huge excitement, massive crowd here today, this afternoon. And it's just a wee bit patience relied. Maybe even keep it at the back of the scrum. Let them make the mistakes. They're the team that are under pressure.
So it's going to be a Currie defensive scrum. It's Hawick 3, Currie 11.
Back at Pointer Park, 13-5 now. Ayr have just scored.
Yes, and not before time. Fullback Scott Watson here have had umpteen opportunities. They trailed 13 points to 0. Frankie Robson with the opening try 7 minutes in against the run of play, converted by Patterson. 2 Patterson penalties. But at last Ayr have got themselves on the board. And 2 opportunities in the last 5 minutes where just the last pass has let them down. It's now Kelso 13, Ayr 5. Jamie Bova lining up the conversion from over on the far touchline, just outside the 22. Again catches that one well, and again the flags stay down. So it remains Kelso 13, Ayr 5.
Yeah, they're just rewards, I would say, Bruce, from this first half performance from Ayr. If they'd gone in at half time with nothing on the board, it would have been a bit of a scratching heads. How did that happen? So I think Ayr have certainly done enough in this first half to get points on the board, and as you say, 2 or 3 clean breaks in the last 7 or 8 minutes, and last pass has gone a begging, but eventually just put through 5 or 6 phases there and put the Kelso defence under duress, and the try came.
Yeah, Ayer's skills have let them down on occasions, but give credit where it's due. The Kelso defence has been really solid.
Absolutely, and the worry was, that the penalties were just creeping in, and that's what ultimately did them in the end. And they were on a team warning there, so that's when you have to really be careful. And Ayr just kept hold of the ball and were clinical and got it to the width, and Scott Wilson went over in the corner.
Yes, I think 6 Kelso penalties so far, but it hasn't cost them other than those 5 points. So a healthy looking Kelso advantage with 3 minutes left to play to half time. Ayr clearing from their own 22, doesn't quite make it to halfway. Angus Roberts takes it and comes across field just looking for a gap, tackled by Rohan Potty, who's been one of the standout Ayr players, and then isolated, holding on in the deck. Penalty Ayr.
For me, he's off his feet there. He's not supporting his own body weight, so for me that wasn't a penalty against Kelso, but I'm not the referee, so the man in the middle has awarded the penalty to Ayr, and they've got really good territory now into the Kelso 22.
Yes, Ayr, you feel, will just lift themselves here going into half time. That try giving them a bit of confidence. They've got a line out on the Kelso 22 over on the far side. The line out has been shaky, but taken by Cameron Rees, the captain there, and Dave Young, the hooker, and now making good ground from the maul. Need 4 or 5 metres here. The referee, his arm goes up again. Yet another Kelso penalty. So I imagine, they're not hanging about here. Jack Anderson just asking for the ball and sends that into touch about 8 metres out from the Kelso try line.
You just wonder how many more they can get away with Kelso from a defensive point of view before unfortunately somebody might go in the bin. Ayr have really come into this game properly in the last 10 minutes and are definitely looking the stronger side finishing this first half. But Kelso would take great delight in keeping Ayr out here before half time.
Well, that's a better line out taken by Cameron Rees, and Kelso are actually down to 14. Liam Herdman in the bin. That won't matter for now. Rohan, in fact that's not Potty, that is Ross McCorkindale, back to full health after a knock earlier on. Once again the referee playing an advantage, and Jamie Bova sees space out on the left there. Lovely weighted kick taken by Zach Howard. That's 2 quick-fire tries for Ayr. Kelso 13, Ayr 10.
Yeah, great score there, great vision from Bova. Saw his winger unmarked on the wing, and a great finish. Dwayne Patterson with a despairing tackle in the corner, and again, we talked about it the last 5-10 minutes. Ayr have really come into this game and held all the possession, and a couple of loose passes has not seen them score quicker, but they're right into this game now, and 13-10 conversion to come. Last couple of minutes before half time, and it's a really tight game here at Poynter.
How quickly things can turn around. Kelso led 13 points to 0, and in the space of 2 minutes 13-10, and as we've sort of alluded to, Ayr were probably marginally the better of the two teams, but just could not get themselves across that try line, and I think the scoreline probably more a reflection of the game now.
Yeah, definitely, and Kelso took their chances when they came. They've only been up in that Ayr 22 on the 3 occasions where they've scored points, so all credit to Kelso for taking their opportunities, but Ayr have certainly had their good share of this first half, and it's a good time now for half time to come for Kelso. Actually, they're down to 14 men. They'll have time to regroup with Kevat and Bruce in the changing room and come out a second half with a game plan.
Yeah, 40 minutes on the clock here. I think we've probably got a couple of minutes injury time to play. Jamie Bova right on the stand side touchline. Again, he catches that well, but that'll not quite have the distance or the direction, so it remains Kelso 13, Ayr 10.
Yeah, I just wonder, Kelso kick it long here. Just try and get into the sheds, as they say, for half time and regroup, because it has all been Ayr for the last 10 minutes, and Kelso need to remember they've had a bad 10 minutes, but they're still 13-10 and up in this really important game. They're probably taking that before the game. They're winning the game. Kick it in the corner, try and get the clock ticking over as quick as possible to get them back to the 15 men on the field and get Liam Herdman back and introduced.
It was always going to be a tight game, just 1 point separating the two sides at the top of Tennent's National League Division 1. 3 points between them now as we're approaching half time. And referee Scott Cubitt says there's still time left to play. Well, they didn't go long, they've made that one contestable, and it has been tapped back on the Kelso side. Alan Frame gets hands on it, drives a metre or two forward, and quick ball for Andy Tate. Feeds it off there to Charlie Marshall. Cowans and Thompson in to win possession, and then out it comes to Murray Hasty on the Ayr 10 metre line. Frankie Robson straightens again, takes it into contact. Huge clash between the two big inside centres today. Tate, all his options were on this stand side. Archie Cowans again takes it into contact. Bruce McNeil a little quiet in the last couple of minutes, picks and goes, loses his footing. Back again it comes, this time to Grant Shields. Nice little tip on to Kevin Dryden. And Kelso working their way up towards the Ayr 22. Charlie Marshall turned though on his back, but the referee says offside and penalty awarded to Kelso.
Yeah, it's good from Kelso that though. That's exactly what they had to do under a bit of pressure. Just keep the ball, keep it through the phases. They weren't making many yards, but they were keeping the ball, and then they play away, and then obviously they gave away that penalty just with the pure pressure. Offside in the middle of the field there for that tackle, and another chance here for Dwayne Patterson at a really good time just before half time to make it 16-10 going in at half time, which would be a good outcome for the first half for Kelso.
And Dwayne Patterson already 8 points to his name. That conversion of Frankie Robson's try, only Kelso try so far, 7 minutes into the game, and then two penalties. He's certainly a good kicker, the youngster.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he's been a guy that has been kind of admired around the Borders for a few years now. He was talked about in the Southern Knights in the early days, and I think he's going to be training with it. And Alan Tate and Scott White have got him in training with them just now on the Monday night session. So he's certainly one for the future.
So he takes off the headgear. He's just to the right of the post here. Steps up once again, catches it cleanly. That looks like that is going right through the middle. You would hear from the crowd it was good. And with that, the referee blows for half time. Kelso 16, Ayr 10.
Thank you very much indeed. That's good news from Poynter Park. What about Mansfield Park? Robin Purdy.
Yeah, you join us just when Hawick are rumbling towards the line from the line out. They're over the line. Will they get the ball down? The ball is down. The crowd go into raptures. The stand erupts here at Mansfield. And Hawick are right back in this. It's Callum Rennick. He's been impressive so far in this game, and that's been coming, Scott.
Yeah, it has. I've thoroughly deserved though. 10 minutes champing on the Currie line. A couple of turnovers by Currie as well. They seem to be quicker and sharper to the breakdown. But Hawick have found us all back in. They took the penalty rather than take the points. It's kicked it into the corner, and they went back to type, didn't they? They went back to that driving line out, and they got the reward.
Yeah, it was the Hawick of old there, the pressure, and then they just went back to basic. And Scott, that is going to steady some nerves potentially here.
Well, it's half time as well. It was badly needed. The crowd had been quiet for such a long time. It's a case of regrouping now, half time, and they'll go back in at half time. The referee is now speaking to the Hawick captain at the moment.
Now one wonders what he's talking to him about here. It's nothing that's going to wipe the try out anyway, so no, Kirkford is going to line up this conversion. Hawick 8, Currie 11, and Currie have been impressive.
Yeah, they played really well, and as I said before, at the breakdown they've been really sharp and quick. They've had a lot of turnovers. There'll be plenty of words for Matty Douglas and Graham Hobb to think about at half time. Certainly around the breakdown, trying to keep the ball, keep possession. And slowly but surely Kyle Brunton and Hector Patterson are starting to get into the game, but it's took a wee bit of time this afternoon.
Yeah, and Kirkford is 14 metres in from the stand side here, just outside the 22, sizing it up, begins his run up. Kirkford right in front of us, and he's pushed it. Imminently kickable penalty for the league's top kicker, but he's pushed that, and they're going to go down the tunnel here. Hawick 8, Currie 11, and maybe not what we predicted, Scott.
And Currie's ruffled them, but that kick by Kirkford, who's hardly missed anything this year, kind of sums up that first half where the nervousness or the occasion has got to Hawick at times today. But I did see we've seen a lot of really good stuff in that last 10-minute spell, which augurs well for the future.
Yeah, it does, and this big crowd here start to leave the stand off for refreshments and to get their breath back, I think. But what you've coached at this level, Scott, in recent times. What are you saying down there if you're the Hawick coach?
Yeah, I think you need to look at structure to begin with. You need to think about the line-out side of things. They're competing really well in the line-outs. There's been about 3 or 4 overthrows from the Currie side. The Hawick scrum is dominant at present there, so I think they shouldn't get sucked into the way Currie are wanting to play that high tempo touchline to touchline type game today. If Hawick do really well with their drive and structure and the scrums and the line-outs, then just stick to what they're really good at.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a couple of times, just going back to basics and the fact that it looked like they were trying to play Currie at Currie's own game.
Yeah, I think they got lulled into a false sense. It was a high intensity, early doors, high energy game, and Currie were running it from everywhere. Had a really good set, a few sets going, found some gaps and spaces in the holes there, and Hawick just kind of got sucked into it a wee bit in there. What I would say is that Ethan Riley is absolutely outstanding at centre. He seems to be playing 12, but with number 13 on his back. but defensively he's really, really strong, and he carries really well as well, and he likes to offload. He could well be a potential match winner around about that area there. If he certainly isn't, he could certainly make Mitchell the potential match winner.
Yeah, he's been Hawick's key man this afternoon, Ethan Riley. And who else has impressed you as the half war on, Scott?
Yeah, obviously Callum Ryan took his try well. He's very industrious, and he takes up the line really flat and defensively. He's his brother as well, Fraser. You know, his arrows are really good, along with Dalton and obviously Stuart Graham is industrious round about that back row. But at the moment, I feel we're second best in that back row. And if we want to win that game today, and they want to be Scottish champions, 21 years since they've been Scottish champions, then that back row need to be a wee bit sharper, and we need to be better. At the moment, we're just a wee bit second best in that area.
And we mentioned when we were here last week about the size of the crowd, the big crowd. As the game wears on, if it's still tight, could that almost become more of could the nerves transcend down from the stand?
I think he heard the crowd there now when Hawick scored. It was desperately needed, that try to take it in at half time at 11-8. Yes, with 3 points down, but it was such a huge score at that time there. To come away and play 10 minutes in that area there and come away with nothing would have been an absolute disaster for them. So to go back in under the tunnel there, Graham Hogg and Matty will give them words of wisdom, and then they'll come out in the second half with the crowd behind them. We could be looking at 21 years since they were the last Scottish champions, back in it again.
Yeah, so half time here in the Tennent's Premiership Final. Mansfield Park, it's Hawick 8, Currie 11.
Well, we're bouncing between the parks today, the Pointer Park and the Mansfield Park, but at the moment it's Kelso 16, Ayr 10 here at Pointer Park, and down at Mansfield Park it's a tight one, Hawick 8, Currie 11. Let's have a look at National 1 now. A ding-dong battle happening at Netherdale between Gala and Melrose. You'll remember that Melrose took the first blood. Will Ferry scored a try, then it was equalised, and then in fact they scored another 2 for Gala, so made it 21-7. Since then, 2 more Melrose converted tries from Angus Runciman and Donald Crawford makes it 21-21 at the break. It's GHK 29, Dundee 12 at half time. Also in National 1, Highland 12, Watsonians 10. Highland coming back from 2 tries down to go into the lead at the interval. Still waiting on Stumell and Stirling County. But in National 2, Cartha Queen's Park 17. Falkirk 26 is a half-time score. It's tight at Kirkcaldy, Beveridge Park. Kirkcaldy 14, Boroughmuir 15 in that one. That will be a result if it stays, which will please the likes of Berwick, whose game of course is off today at Preston Lodge. Peebles 3, Lasswade 7, and we can go to Peffermill, because in East League 3, Edinburgh University Medics against Hawick Quins, who are unbeaten at the moment. Get a half-time report from Hugh Brown.
Tries in 20 minutes by Swanston and 31 minutes from scrum half Jordan Rutherford have given Hawick Quins an advantage at half-time, but it was the Medics who scored first 3 minutes with a penalty from their number 17. However, after that, Quins injected life into their play and spent most of the rest of the first half camped on the home side's 22. At half-time then, it's Edinburgh University Medics 3, Hawick Quins 12.
So going to plan there at Peffermill at the moment. Unbeaten Hawick Quins who are looking to win the East League 3 title. Well, Kelso are out for the second half. We're still waiting on air, but we can go back and rejoin our commentators here at Pointer Park. It's Graham Dodds and Bruce Miller.
Yes, Kelso back out on the field. They're leading 16 points to 10. I tell you what we'll do, we'll quickly take the chance to run through the sides, because we never did that at the start of the game, just trying to see if Kelso made any changes. But they line up with Grant Shields, Charlie Marshall and Alan Frame in the front row, Cammy Thompson and Keith Melbourne in the second row, and a back row of Archie Cowens, Kevin Dryden and Bruce McNeil, Andy Tate and Murray Hastie at half back, Frankie Robson the captain alongside Dwayne Patterson in the centres, Angus Roberts, Greg Ponton and Liam Herdman. The back three, they've got Ewan Knox, Terry Logan, Angus Common, Liam Tate and Nick Stingle in reserve for Ayr. Front row of Seth Ray, Dave Young and Rory Sace, Ewan Hamilton and Cameron Rees, the captain in the middle row, Michael Kirk, Rowan Potty and Pete McCallum in the back row, Ross McCorkindale and Jack Anderson at half back, Jamie Bova and Danny McCluskey in the midfield, and then Zach Howard, John Fulton and Scott Watson, the latter the 2 try scorers for Ayr in the back three. And with that, referee Scott Hubert blows to get the second half underway. And it's Kelso kicking off now right to left as we watch from the back of the stand. That's taken by Michael Kirk. the Ayr blind side. Takes that into contact midway between the Ayr 22 and 10 metre line. In go hands. Bruce McNeil wins that one back, right under the noses of about 3 Ayr players. The referee happy with that. So Tate feeds that off to Archie Cowans, just sticks his head down, makes a metre or two. Kelso, Kevin Dryden and Frankie Robson having to work hard to win that, the breakdown, and that ball bounces unkindly for Ross McCorkindale, knocks it on, and then picked up by another Ayr player in front of McCorkindale. Penalty Kelso.
A great start to the second half for Kelso there. Bruce actually asked the referee, can I have a go at that ball, and then Julie picked it up. So very clever play from the stalwart there, but then a good kick in behind from Murray Hastie there, and forcing the mistake from the little 9 from Ayr, and Dwayne Patterson pops it in the corner for an attacking line out for Kelso.
I think Bruce McNeil told the referee he was going to have a go at there and it would be okay, but either way he won it. Great work there, and from the resulting Ayr Kelso kick, not taken by Ross McCorkindale, it was a really horrible bounce for him. And Ayr now find themselves defending a line out on their own 5 metre line. That's taken by Cammy Thompson, and in pile the Kelso players driving towards the Ayr try line. The referee's got his arm out, so a free ball here for Kelso and Andy Tate. A loud blast in the whistle there, and another penalty 5 metres out from the Ayr try line and about 10 metres in from the stand side touch line. So forward comes Dwayne Patterson, asks for the ball, he'll just kick this one out and we'll get a repeat of the same line out.
Yeah, we're looking, the Ayr most breakdowns and the driving maul, they're defending really aggressively. That's one thing, they're having a go at every single breakdown, every single ruck. So Kelso need to make sure their next man there in support is there on time, but from the driving line out, they're having a real go early doors to try and collapse it and disrupt, and they've done a pretty good job so far.
The line out has been superb. Again, Cammy Thompson the target, and in come the Kelso forwards, inching their way towards that Ayr try line. 16 points to 10, the lead. There's a breakaway here, and good work by Seth Ray. The loose head prop to hold that ball up, and the referee awards the scrum feed to Ayr.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that either. For me, it's never a maul there, so the ball's on the ground, and if the Ayr player lies on the wrong side, he should be penalised there. It's in the olden days they'd been rucked out of there, Bruce, but you're not allowed to do that anymore. But if a player just flops off their feet and seals off the ball, I think that has to go an attacking team ball.
I agree, yeah, they looked like they'd broken away from the maul. It was just a tackle.
Yeah.
The Ayr player just
the maul was over, 100%.
Yeah,
the maul was over, and then the 3 players collapsing on a heap, so that can't possibly be a defensive team ball.
Just a quick reminder of the first half action as we're waiting on a ball coming in for this scrum. Frankie Robson opened the scoring with a try 7 minutes into the game. Dwayne Patterson with a conversion, and then 3 penalties. And Scott Watson and Zach Howard with a brace of tries for Ayr. So we have a ball and we have a scrum about 15 metres in from the stand side touchline. It'll be Ayr and Ross McCorkindale to feed here. We've got Jack Anderson, his half-back partner, standing on the dead ball line. He's a long way back here, but the Ayr scrum being shunted backwards. Dominant scrum by the home side, and they're forced to play away, and Jamie Bova catches that one off the outside of his boot. Doesn't do a bad job there at the centre, but taken by Angus Roberts, whipped across field to fullback Liam Herdman, dancing and caught in 2 minds there, tackled on the Ayr 10 metre line. Andy Tate just organising his forwards. Archie Cowans again takes it into contact, pumps the legs, and assisted by Keith Melbourne. Andy Tate again looking to play down the blind side. It's carried into contact by Grant Shields now, and Bruce McNeil asks for it. He's got Cowans and Thompson with him, and he fights his way forward. Again there, Charlie Marshall looking for the ball there, but it was a little bit slow in coming. It would have been isolated. Andy Tate goes himself. Again in goes Thompson just to secure possession, and Murray Hastie forced to come in, act as scrum half. Off to Shields, nice little tip on there to the Irishman Melbourne. He's driven back by Jamie Bova. Kelso retaining possession but struggling to get any go forward here. Frankie Robson now driven back in a 2-man Ayr tackle. Kelso losing ground there and deciding to put boot to ball there. Murray Hastie sees space in behind. Taken a second time of asking by John Fulton. Hit by Bruce McNeil, manages to stay in the field of play. Just a half a metre in from the stand side touchline outside the Ayr 22. The captain Cameron Rees now in possession. The referee awards yet another penalty now to Kelso for holding on.
That's good play there from Murray Hastie. Spotted nothing was on. They were kind of going back every phase a couple of yards, and from halfway line not much doing, and then popped it over the top, and missed the first tackle there by the left winger, but then obviously Bruce McNeil came up and put a big shot in, and Archie Cowans came over the top of the ball and won it. So it's good for Kelso, spotting when it's not on to play the territory game, and then they got their just rewards and an attacking line out from 5 yards out.
Things had looked a little shaky for Kelso in the last 10 minutes or so of the half, having led 13-0. They're clawed back to 13-10. That penalty just before half time extended their lead back out to 6, but they seem to have taken the real control of the game in the early stages of this second half. 5 minutes in and 5 metres out from the Ayr try line. Charlie Marshall, again, the second row's changing places. Forward comes Keith Melbourne. Cammy Thompson has been the target in the last 2 line-outs, but this time they do find Melbourne at the front, and once again they get that driving line-out moving forward. A pile of Ayr bodies for them to climb over here, so they'll perhaps have to play it away. Andy Tate standing, waiting the ball coming, but it does not come back, and Ayr awarded the scrum feed.
Yeah, I think that's the right decision this time. It was always in the maul, and it was just a bit of a guddle, and it never came out of that maul, which is a defensive scrum. And reinforcements on for Kelso in the front row, Ewan Knox and big Terry Logan coming on. The props have been going really well. One thing with Dozer, with Grant Shields there, obviously that massive experience that he's got leading the floor, but Alan Frame's been very good at tight head as well, so all credit to them. And after 50 minutes when you can bring those 2 guys on, superb.
So scrum here, but let's quickly head across to Mansfield Park. White penalty.
Yeah, and that penalty has been stroked over by Kirkford from fully 40 metres on the angle. So it's Hawick 11, Currie 11, just into the second half. Currie have kicked off and Hawick have sent it down the park. So it's going to be Currie line out just inside the Hawick half, and good start to the second half, just what Hawick were after.
Yeah, it was an excellent start, and a great kick by Kirkford. That'll give him a lot of confidence as well. And we're back to that same situation Currie had in the first half. Poor line-out throwing is costing Currie dear at the moment.
Yeah, we were in line with that, and it was fully a metre down the Currie side. And yeah, you mentioned that in the first half, the basics for Currie. Currie were really good in the loose, but yeah, the basics have just not been up to scratch.
Yeah, they are. And what Hawick was needing to do is to have good line-out ball and good scrum ball. And they've obviously made a decision at the start of the second half. Hector Patterson's off the field, and Gareth Welsh is on it. That scrum half, and they'll be looking for a wee bit of stability and get that park working for them.
Yeah, just a little bit more experience. Gareth Welsh, 70th outing for Hawick this afternoon. He's on 5 tries from 15 games this season. He actually scored against Currie at Millennium in October, so he's fed the scrum as well, and it's moving forward, the Hawick scrum, and the penalty's coming. So Welsh picks Hawick once again, playing with a free ball. Brunton sent it down the park, knowing full well that the referee was going to come back. So Michael Todd's going to bring them back, and it's going to be a Hawick penalty just inside their own half, which will go down the touchline. And this start to the second half is almost dreamland as far as Hawick were concerned.
Yeah, it was a good solid scrum as well, and we received the penalty for it. It was interesting, the backroom staff came out really early, so your Matty Douglas coaches, Graham Hogg, all left early and left the players in the room themselves. That says to me that it was up to them to sort it out. Matty could only say so much. It's about the guys on the field, and they've certainly started that second half really well.
And that's a decent nudge by Kirkford as well. It's taken play down to the Currie 22 on the far side, the banking side here at Mansfield, which is housing as many people as I've seen in many's a year. Plenty black and yellow scarves on that side as well. Good travelling support here from Currie as well. Far outnumbered, however, of course, by the Hawick contingent. So Fraser Rennick with the arrows. In it comes. It's been taken at the tail by Linton. So Hawick with a chance to attack here, and it's Rennick to Rennick. But Fraser Rennick spilt it, unfortunately, for Hawick, so it's Currie now in possession inside their own 20. Numbers over on this near side, but one of the big forwards has decided to go route one and set it up, and it's Gregor Christie at the base. Christie comes back to Forbes. Forbes now looking for the runners. Out the back door, and Charlie Brett has put it down the field, and it's been taken in cleanly by Kirkford. So Kirkford goes infield with a pass to Charlie Welsh. Charlie Welsh now, his turn to send it down the park, but that's been gobbled up by a Currie player on that far side, and he now fancies a dart, but again he's been well taken down by the Hawick defence, which has looked a wee bit shaky in the first half, but it's grown into this game. But Currie's still in possession now, up towards the halfway line. Back to Forbes. Forbes looking for the 50-22, but it's been taken in there by a Hawick player. It was Welsh. Back to Ford. Ford now again The aerial ping pong. Oh, and two Currie players have collided when trying to take that ball. Both of them, Scott, look a wee bit the worse for wear, and that's a breakdown in communication.
It was, but it was a great catch with Charlie. I think it was Charlie Brett that took the catch. It was a great kick down the field as well. They were brilliant. So I think there's one Currie player at least found himself on the other end of his fullback running into him.
It was man and ball, you could say. You don't see too many man and ball situations where it's two teammates. One player was coming onto it, one player was rushing back, and
it was a game of kick tennis, wasn't it? And he found young Welsh under a lot of pressure. It took two really good catches and two good kicks down the field. Ford was in the right position as well. You know, if it goes down to a kicking game, I think Hawick have got a really good structure, and certainly in that respect.
Yeah, as the running repairs continue to happen for the Currie players. So, Hawick 11, Currie 11.
Poinder Park, we're back, and Kelso on the attack.
Right on the air try line, Andy Tate digging for the ball, and the referee comes back for about fourth penalty in the space of 4 minutes, and we've had 4 line-outs. Kelso have not quite managed to score, Graham Dodds.
No, but they've held the ball, Bruce, which is an important thing. They're still in possession of the ball, and if it's not a yellow card, it certainly has to be a team warning for Ayr, because it is a 4th penalty in a row. So I think that will be the last warning they get, Bruce. And you know, Kelso are really knocking at the door here, and it'd be a great time to score. 10 minutes into this first half, when they've had it all this first half so far, and they want to come away with 7 points.
Their line out has been very secure. We've got a change at hooker with Ewan Knox on for Charlie Marshall, and in the front row also Alan Frame going off Terry Logan on. But Ayr have defended well so far, albeit giving away penalties. They're going to the back this time, and Archie Cowans, a different target, takes it well, but squint throw. Bruce McNeil throws the ball away in disgust.
Hey, I'm not very pleased with that at all. But you have to ask the question, why did they make that call? They've won the ball front and middle the last 4 line-outs, been very successful, keep doing the same thing. They put a pressure on the guy that's just come on. You know, Knox has just come on the field, second throw of the game, and they ask him for a 15-yarder straight off the bat.
So Kelso 16, Ayr 10, 52 minutes on the clock here at Poinder Park, and well, you can't say Kelso really had to score there. They're leading by 6 points, but just they have no reward as yet for their dominance.
No, pure dominance in territory and possession, Bruce, and that's that they'll be kicking themselves if they come away from this position with nothing, because even 3 points, but with the driving mauls they had, and getting stopped short 3 or 4 times a yard out, they'll be bitterly disappointed if they come away with nothing.
Dominant at the set piece, scrum this time, driven back, and they're fighting to get that one back out. They're over their own try line. Terry Logan on the tight head side for Kelso, driving his opposite number back, Seth Ray, and then a scrappy clearance by Ayr, and they can only find a touch about 11 or 12 metres out from their own try line.
Yeah, Kelso got another chance here. It must have been a knock-off, a tip-off one of the Kelso players, because it's an Ayr put-in, but a good chance here for Kelso to get up in front. They've been pretty good defensively in the line-out. They've spoiled a lot of Ayr ball this afternoon, and it's a great chance 10 yards out from the Ayr line to steal another one.
So Stuart Collier on at hooker now for Ayr, replacing Dave Young, so both sides changing their hookers. As you said, Kelso put Ewan Knox under a bit of pressure. Well, likewise, Collier not finding his man. Tap back on the Kelso side and rescued by Keith Melbourne on the Ayr 22. So Andy Tate again organising. Kev Dryden shouting for support here. Gets it from Frankie Robson and Terry Logan. Scrambles forward on his knees. And Andy Tate now hits Bruce McNeil, who just dips his left shoulder into contact. Andy Tate trying to fight his way past Ayr players and out into the midfield, and Archie Cowans with the red headgear on. Centre field, Andy Tate just looking for somebody to run off him, finds Kevin Dryden, the open side flanker. Cowans has to drop to the deck, so Kelso can find Liam Tate, another replacement in the second half. That's kicked through, and it'll be picked up by McCorkindale in his own 22, looks for support, juggled there by one of the Ayr players, but fights his way out of the Ayr 22. So now, of course, Ayr can't kick it out on the full-back. It goes to Anderson, who just sends that one right down the middle. Liam Herdman takes that just in his own side of halfway and finds Dwayne Patterson, who looks up, sees a bit of space behind. Well, there wasn't an awful lot there, and that's taken into contact by Rory Anderson, brother of Jack Anderson. They're fly half, so it's Ayr now in possession on their own 10-metre line. They play down the left touch line. Another physical carry. Rory Sace waiting for this one, tips it on to his captain Cameron Rees there. Ayr working their way up towards halfway. Anderson looking for this. There's 3 men in the backfield for Kelso. He spirals that across field. Murray Hastie under this one, and he drops it and can't regather, and it's hacked through by Danny McCluskey. Foot race here, and Angus Roberts can't pick it up either. Gets it the second time of asking, so Kelso now find themselves back very close to their own try line. 2 knock-ons there, back they come. It was Murray Hastie with the first one, and Ayr, having survived for the last 5 or 6 minutes on their own try line, score still 16 points to 10, now find themselves on the attack just outside the Kelso 22.
It's almost like a carbon copy of the first half, where Ayr had all the first 10-15 minutes of that first half, and then Kelso came up the other end and scored 7 points off the bat. And you know, it's we talked about the last phase of play, Kelso being disappointed to come away with nothing. Well, they have come away with nothing. Now they need to switch themselves into defensive mode and make sure that Ayr don't score off this, and they hold on to their 6-point lead.
15 minutes played in the second half, still no score by either side, but this is the best attacking opportunity of the half so far for Ayr. Scrum just outside the Kelso 22, about 12 metres in from the stand side touchline. Ayr playing from left to right towards the changing rooms here, if you know your geography of Pointer Park. The referee not happy with the first scrum, so he changes sides. A quick word with Rory Sace and Grant Shields on this side of the scrum. Ayr backline strung away across to the left and looking dangerous.
You're looking dangerous. We watched them warm up before the game, and they were pretty crisp in their attack. You know, that was the thing I noticed when they were warming up, and they're certainly here looking to play. They're not like the Ayers of old, where they just want to rumble up 10-man rugby. They're here to play, and we'll see what comes off this attacking scrum.
So Jack Anderson and Jamie Bova, both big men at 10 and 12. It's slightly better here. Scrum, it goes back, bounces to Anderson, forced to take it into contact there and tackled well. And Kelso appealing for that one. The referee agrees, awards a penalty.
Yeah, great play there. I noticed that from Andy Tate. You know, you can slap the arm now in the scrum half, which is a new rule this season. You can slap the arm, and the ball came squirting out the side, and you know the Ayr were put under immediate pressure there, and the back row snaffled straight across, and Bruce McNeil and the gang were straight over the ball. Get a sniff, they'll take it.
Kelso set piece has been superb.
Absolutely, and you know, brilliant defensive line out as well, which has certainly got them this 16-10 lead. Sorry, and you know, I think the set piece is something they really need to build on. You know, we used to talk about games where if you win your scrum and line out, you're generally winning the game, and if Kelso keep going the way they are, hopefully that is the outcome.
23 minutes left to play here at Pointer Park. It's Kelso 16, Ayr 10.
Let's have a look at Gala against Melrose. Gala have a bonus point. It's 26 points to 21 against Melrose at Netherdale. GHK 36, Dundee 12, Highland 12, What's Her Name's back in front 15, Kelso 16, Ayr 10, International 2, it's Cartha Queen's Park 17, Falkirk 40, Kirkcaldy 28, Boroughmuir 15, and Peebles have taken the lead against Lasswade. It's now Peebles 10, Lasswade 7, and in the East League 3, Hoyt Quinns have their bonus point. It's 24 points to 17, Hoyt Quinns leading at Edinburgh University Medics. Let's go back to Mansfield Park. Last we heard 11-all.
And it is 11-all, Stuart, but Hoyker down to 14 men. Dalton Redpath is taking 10 for his troubles. It was a high tackle as Currie were attacking down the stand side, but Hoyk have weathered that well so far, and they've actually gained a lot of the territory back with a rampaging run from Fraser Rennick, the hooker, who has since departed the scene. He's been substituted. So level here at Mansfield, and a penalty coming to Hoyk on the Currie 10 metre line. So another attacking platform from which Hoyt can work, but it's centre field, 45 metres out, and again it's just getting a bit feisty here, Scott.
It's a massive part of the game now. The game is on an absolute knife edge. It could go either way. Currie at times are playing with such an intensity. They're going for the points, I think. They're going for the 3 points.
Yeah.
They're playing with such intensity, Currie, at times. There's holes everywhere in the Hoyt defence, but then Hoyt get a couple of turnarounds. An excellent run by Rennick there, and just held up short behind the post.
Yeah, Fraser Rennick been outstanding this afternoon again, as he so often is, and the remainder of this game without him, Scott, do you see that being much of a factor?
No, I think Ross Graham's a really good hooker as well, and he adds some more dynamism to there. That would have been something that's been happening all season as well, so I don't think I'll take anything away from the good game that Rennick has had as well. But you can hear that the more Hoyk are getting into that Hoyt Currie half, the crowd are really getting behind them now, and it's exactly what they need. They need to give them something to shout for.
As Kirkford lines this one up. 45 metres out, Kirkford struck it. Looks good. It looks really good, and the crowd will tell you so. For the first time in this game, Hawick are in front. It's Hawick 14, Currie 11 in Scotland. The balance of territory and possession in this
They certainly
second
deserve
half.
it the second half, don't they? No, they certainly do. They've really had their danders up, and they're getting their teeth in about it now, and they're certainly keeping the hold of the possession a lot better, which is exactly what was needed. Starve Currie of possession.
And they've done better than just weather the 14-man storm. They actually are leading this period of the game, during which they've been minus Dalton Redpath. So Hawick now, they've taken the kick off. They're inside their own 22, and it's Welsh back to Ford. And again, another good touch finder from Ford. Takes it outside the 22, and Currie now will look to go from here.
Yeah, they will. But as I said, Robin, before, it really is just on a knife edge. There's nothing between the two teams this afternoon, and it could go either way at any opportunity. It just takes one piece of brilliance today. Somebody grabbing the bull by the horns will make a difference today. Yeah,
or one piece of absolute stupidity by somebody.
Yeah, and that high tackle was certainly a concern before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But once again,
it's been there failing. Currie's failing those lineouts.
The Currie lineout, the ball has gone right down their own side, and that must be the fourth time this afternoon.
Yeah, I think fourth or fifth time, Robin, and it's costing them dear in situations where they're on the 22, looking to attack the Hawick try line, and again it's been another missed throw.
Yeah, so it's going to be a Hawick scrum, 5 metres outside their own 22, 15 metres in from the banking side at Mansfield. Hawick have probably had the slight dominance, you would say, at scrum time.
Yeah, I think they have. Yeah, and I would continue with that vein. Keep the pressure on them with Currie. It's a platform that they're struggling with, Currie. And that's the dominant side for the Hawks, has been all season. So keep that going. And it may well be a case here that they look to try and play for possession, keep them playing in the right areas of the field.
Yeah. So the scrum has come up. Referee's going to bring them back down. 14 points to 11. Hawick lead Currie. 22 minutes to go in the Tenants Premiership Final. The tension here, Scott, it's palpable. You just cut it with a knife.
Nah, it is. And every now and again you see Jim Rennick or Barney, old Barney, jumping up and down. You can see the passion and the history behind Hawick Rugby Club, can't you?
Yeah, there's a few real Kent faces around the place today, that is for sure. And that's a decent scrum with 7 men for Hawick. But it's been fumbled there now. Currie are all over this. Did it go forward? Michael Todd says no. It looked like it might have done from here, but Hawick retreating here deep now into their own 22, all of their own making. So it's going to come back on the Hawick side, however, and Welsh, sloppy pass from Welsh, and it's Kirkford had to reach for it, and Kirkford's done well there. He's got good distance on it, but it's not made touch, and here comes Cody McGovern. McGovern though hit hard just outside the Hawick 22, so wee bit of respite here for Hawick, but it's Currie in possession. Here they come again. Forbes, big prop in midfield this time. Cairn Ramsey, he's put himself about this afternoon, Ramsey. And again, it's Christie at the base of that. Again, to Forbes out to DJ Ennis. Another impressive performer for Currie this afternoon. Christie's in there, digging for it again. Terrier-like. This time again, he goes to the big prop. Cairn Ramsey, second carry in quick succession for him, but Hawick swarm all over him. Hawick playing with 14 men. Not long to go on Redpath's yellow card. Another breach into the heart of the Hawick defence, however, this time by Gregor Nelson, and Currie are up to 15 metres from the Hawick line. Maintaining possession, going through the phases. Hawick look comfortable enough, they've got a decent line, but that's a half break there by a Currie player. And Hawick again have done well to drag him to ground, but the half break was on here. This time it's out to DJ Ennis. Ennis straightens this time and heads towards the Hawick post, head down, and they're up to within 2 metres of the line here, no less, Currie. So, pressure moments for Hawick. Good hit on a Currie player
Sean
under the
Muir,
post, Sean Muir. But Currie still in the shadow of the Hawick posts. 10th or 12th phase here maybe. Slowed down. Hawick defence have done well. There's the big Currie forwards trundle round the corner towards the foot of that post. But it's been held up.
Tremendous defence.
Great defence.
Held up, I think.
So the Currie players retreat, waiting on the dropout from Under the post, and here comes Dalton Redpath. You're absolutely right. So Hawick have done brilliantly in that last 10
minutes.
Yeah,
they really have. You know, they were hanging on to tackles. There wasn't very many positive tackles, was there? So every time that Currie were gaining ground the whole time, but tremendous piece of defensive work. I'm not unsure of who it was, but right underneath that post there, we've turned them over, and it'll be a goal line drop out there as Currie make the changes.
Yeah, the hugely experienced scrum half Paddy Boyer coming on, as is Adam Hall.
Christie's played really well though at 9. Very high tempo scrum half.
So Hawick here with a drop out from under their own posts. It remains Hawick 14, Currie 11.
Bit of drama here at Poinder Park. Let's rejoin Bruce.
Yes, Dwayne Patterson with a chance there to put Kelso 9 points ahead, but his kick drifted just past the left hand upright. We'll explain that in just a second as Murray Hastie chases a Kelso kick, knocked on by Kelso. So Graham Dodds, the controversy was of course that one flag went up, one didn't.
Yeah, you've only got one official in the middle. You know, he's seen what he's seeing, and then you've got your touch judges behind with their flag, and the Kelso touch judge gave it as good, and the Ayr did not. So to be fair, from here it looked like it just drifted wide on the wind from Dwayne Patterson's effort, but the Kelso crowd, as we heard, were not pleased.
No, I think it was the right decision, but no, they definitely didn't agree with the decision of the Ayr assistant. Well, they're not really assistant referees, I'm not sure, just touch judges. I think they're probably referred to. But the referee he's done well considering what this game was always going to be like. But there's been one or two incidents that have happened behind his back, but he's generally been in control of it. Ayr have not been in control of the scrum. That is a more solid one there. McCallum digs for that. The referee says we'll reset.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he can't be at both sides, and whatever side he goes, the other side seem to have a bit of controversy or niggle. But you know, it's one place that Kelso have had massive parity on, and have been the upper team certainly from set piece, and I would say from the driving line out as well from the maul. And unfortunately for them, though, we know we're however many 26 minutes into the second half, and it's still scoreless in the second half, and Kelso will be looking just to get something, even if it is a 3-pointer, just to get them over that 7-point mark.
Yes, three successful penalties and one conversion from Dwayne Patterson, but that one they can only have shaved the left upright, would have given Kelso an advantage that I don't think Ayr would have come back from. But as things stand, 6 points between the side, the visitors still very much in with a chance as they play down that left hand touchline, and tackle just short of halfway, so still on the Ayr side. And captain Cameron Rees again getting himself involved in the action. McCorkindale out there to Bova in at first receiver, just lobs that one out into the midfield. A tackle made by Liam Tate on in the second half. Angus Common likewise on for Kelso. Very strong bench they've got today, and that's a high one as Rory Anderson takes it into contact. Ayr now just inches over halfway. Back it comes again to Anderson, decides to put boot to ball, sends it high down the middle, maybe a little bit too far. Liam Herdman under no pressure takes that, finds Angus Roberts, who just about escapes the tackle. There's enough to get the ball free to Murray Hastie off the left foot. That didn't quite go where Hastie wanted, but it can't be taken cleanly by Anderson, and he's tackled by, I think that was that Hastie. Herdman in fact up there, and again you'll hear from the crowd that Kelso very much on the front foot.
Good play there, you know, it was good to get out their what you call red zone back there in their own 30-yard line, and not the best of kicks from Murray to be fair, but the bounce took it away, and great tackle from Liam Herdman coming up in support and forced the pass and forced a kind of scuffed kick from the Ayr full-back there. And you know, Kelso, we've seen this before, Bruce, you know, back in the Ayr 22 line out attacking, and hopefully from a Kelso point of view they can get over the line this time.
Yes, good counter attack by Kelso. The Ayr kick just a little bit too far. Liam Herdman able to take it. He fed Angus Roberts, and he couldn't quite evade the clutches of the tackler, but got his hands free, fed Hastie, and then the kick, well, it had gone infield. I don't think it was his best, but fortunately for Kelso it bounced before it got to Anderson. Good follow-up tackle, and Kelso now find themselves about 18 metres away from the Ayr try line. It's several line-outs here about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Not their worst attempt, but it does come back on the Kelso side, taken by Bruce McNeil, who was not the target. It's Kelso in possession, and they've got Nick Stingle on that scrum half now. Frankie Robson comes crashing onto a short ball there, picked up, and McNeil goes through the middle of the ruck, crawls his way forward another metre or two, and then Kelso attack to the left, and they've got numbers if they can get the ball free. Melbourne has to take it into contact. The referee tells Ayr to get hands off. Terry Logan cuts back inside, and in goes McCallum, trying to turn that one over. It's still with Kelso and Stingle. Murray Hastie tells his half-back partner just to give the ball to the forwards. It's taken in by Angus Common, and Kelso now about 12 metres short. Murray Hastie has a look to the right, cuts back to the left. In centre field here, options both sides here for Kelso. And it's Ewan Knox had a little dart expecting to get the ball there, but Bruce McNeil again picks up and goes round the corner. Melbourne does likewise, and Kelso now only 5 metres away from the Ayr try line. This would win the game, you feel, for Kelso. 16 points to 10. Still in front of the post, still 5 metres out. Referee playing an advantage here for Kelso, so free ball. Murray Hastie out in the left wing shouting for the ball. The referee, he's going to have a word with Ayr here, but Kelso can take this game in this moment. 9 minutes left on the clock. In fact, you imagine they'll kick for posts and get themselves a 9 points advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. No, a great play there from Kelso. Keeping hold of the ball, going through the phases, into the teens of phases, which is always going to put a defence under duress. And great play for Kelso, just keeping it going. Little tip-ons, good interplay between Melbourne and Knox in the middle there, just to evade the tackle. Coming hard from Ayr, because they really are competing hard at the breakdown as well. But for me, if that's a cynical penalty, if the referee's seen that in front of the post after 12 phases, that should be a yellow card from an Ayr defender. But still, Dwayne Patterson bang in front of the post here, 10 yards out to make it 19-10, which with 9 minutes to go should be enough for Kelso.
Yes, this perhaps his easiest kick of the day. As he lines it up, he's only about 10 metres away. Through it goes, his fourth successful penalty, and that does give Kelso a 9 points advantage. Kelso 19, Ayr 10.
Let's go back to Mansfield Park, some more drama there. Robin.
Drama indeed. It's a second yellow card for Dalton Redpath, and that, as we all know, culminates in a red card. Currie were very much in the ascendancy. They were knocking on the Hawick door down towards the line, and he committed an infringement somewhere along the line. The penalty was coming, the referee deemed it was worthy of a yellow, and he'd not long since come back on the field after his previous yellow rather. So for the remaining 12 or 13 minutes of this game, Hawick will play without a man. It was actually great defence from Hawick as well. From the resulting penalty, Currie went to the corner and drove the line out. Hawick now have got a 5 metre scrum of their own, and it would appear there's a penalty coming, but no, Jay Linton takes it and hits it up. So Hawick still camped deep within their own 22. It's sent back to Kirkford, and Kirkford clears the lines, but he's not gone too far with that one, Scott.
No, he hasn't, but Hawick's defence has been absolutely tremendous. The desire to keep them out has been huge. They've had penalty after penalty with a driving line out just 5 metres from the line, from the Hawick line, and they've kept them out. And obviously it looked like, I don't know if it was a single infringement with Dalton or whether it was a team infringement, but obviously Dalton suffered and got the second yellow card, and that would have scuppered loads of teams in the past, but it almost spirited Hawick back up there again, and they saved another try. They turned them over, and they find us all maybe 10-15 metres away defending another line out.
Yeah, so it's going to be yet another Currie line out on the far side in front of the banking here at Mansfield. It remains Hawick 14, Currie 11. 12 minutes to go in this Tennent's Premiership Final. Attacking line out for Currie, 12 metres from the Hawick try line. Hawick, of course, down a man for the remainder of this game. So throw in comes once again. This time it's straight. This time they find the mark. This time they go to drive it. So Hawick again, rear guard action. Starting to trundle forward, but this time it goes out the backs. And here comes a runner on the inside. It's Cody McGovern, but again he's taken. But Currie now, did that go forward? The referee says yes, it did. And the crowd are in raptures, almost to the point where you thought that was a try, Scott.
You have to say, Hawick's scramble defence is absolutely superb, and it seems to be when they're 5 metres from the line, the whole energy, the whole team lifts with that energy, and it's another turnover, another 5 metre scrum, but this time to Hawick, and Kirkford or Kyle Branton will look to try and stick this down the line again.
Yeah, and I refer to the fact before, Scott, you've coached at this level recently. What happens here? What changes for Hawick?
It's all about the players on the field. I mean, it really is now. It's all about and looking for those leaders within the team. Your Kirkfords of the world and people like that there that can try and galvanise something. Hawick don't need to do anything fancy now. We're winning 14-11. It's about playing in the right areas of the field and getting back into the game and keeping hold of the ball.
So the front rows are about to come together. It'll be Gareth Welsh, the Hawick substitute scrum half, to feed this, as he does. Solid Hawick scrum, given they're down to 7 men. In fact, they're nudging it forward here, Hawick, and the referee's arm comes out, and that is quite remarkable. 7 against 8, they've won a scrum penalty, and there it is awarded.
And that's where the desire and strength is, Robin. There's no doubt about that. That's where they've got to win this game today. 7 men pushed the Currie Park, 8 men off the park there.
My word, that was quite something. It's almost the best scrum that they've had the scrum ascendancy, but that's almost the best of the day.
Yeah, and that give them so much heart. You can see the crowd getting behind them as well. A good kick with Kirkford here in this penalty.
Yeah, and Graham Hogg jumped 3 feet off the ground there at the award of that penalty, so it shows what it means to him. Nervy stuff here at Mansfield. Kirkford sent that to the...
And all I'll be doing here is a driving line out. We're on the 10 metre line, still in their own half, but keep the possession of the ball. Yeah, the clock ticks down. There's maybe 9 or 10 minutes remaining according to the scoreboard clock. So it's going to be Ross Graham this time to throw it in for Hawick. One man, one totem less to aim for, of course, but they've taken that in clearly, and as per envisaged by Scott Tomlinson, by my side, Hawick trundle it up from there. Now it's out the back door. Lewis Ferguson, I think he's come onto the field, so Hawick now just inside their own half. Up the jumper stuff from Sean Muir, his umpteenth carry of the day. So Welsh at the base of this ruck, he puts the box kick in. That's going to be contestable, that's going to be anybody's, and it's taken in by Cody McGovern. Well played, Ferguson. Yeah, Ferguson it is that was up there. He waited, he got his timing just right. So Currie though coming out the backs, and now they've got a wee bit of space on this near side, but Jay Linton's wrapped up Adam Hall as the volume goes up another couple of octaves here. Remains Hawick 14, Currie 11, maybe 7 minutes to go, centre field.
Welcome back to Poynter Park for the final 3 minutes of Kelso against Ayr, which is currently Kelso 19, Ayr 10. Bruce and Graham.
Yes, 3 minutes left. Kelso in possession just on the Ayr side of halfway. Terry Logan crashes into contact, drives his way forward, and goes Bruce McNeil to secure possession, and out it goes along the back line. Thompson and Herdman runs a short line. Angus Roberts just steps past the tackle of Bova, and away he goes. He's got Kevin Dryden. Well, in fact, no, it's Greg Punton with him. Dryden off the field is down in front of us here, and a sniff of a chance there for Kelso. Can't make anything of it, but they've just about got this game in the bag, Graham.
They're just about half. They've deserved it. This second half. They've really been down in this Ayr half for most of the game, and with 3 minutes left to close it out. Every time Ayr have had a sniff, Kelso have had the answers. That last driving line out, the Ayr had the possession of the ball, and and the big forwards for Kelso got right in the middle of it and collapsed them all, and that was turnover. And then from that scrum, won the penalty, and that's got them out their lines. And I think Kelso have been really mature in the second half. They've held on to the ball, even when they've not got their just rewards for these driving line-outs close to the Ayr line. They've been mature in the fact they've not given away silly penalties. And they're forcing mistakes, as we see another mistake there from the Ayr standoff. They're forcing mistakes from the Ayr team, and all credit to them.
Yes, McCorkindale under pressure, can't find Jack Anderson, and well, that's a hand in there from one of the Ayr replacements, and that should be a yellow card. And again, I hope you can hear the crowd noise coming over our microphones here, because the support at Poynter Park this afternoon has been superb for this Kelso side. And Ayr replacement, I'm not sure who it is because I'm not wearing the numbers that it says in my sheet here, but sent to the touchline. And Kelso, I think, will just put this game to bed with another penalty for Dwayne Patterson. Well, he's shaping to get to the corner. In fact, I suppose they'll feel secure with that 9-point advantage, and why not have a go?
Yeah, that was just pure pressure from the Kelso attack there, and they were forced into mistake. Just what we said, they're putting that much pressure on them now, and they had to try something. He went for an intercept, a kind of swinging arm tackle at the same time, and that's in the letter of the law nowadays. That's a straight yellow card. And Kelso 10 yards out, attacking line out. They'll go on to get their try here just to finish the game off and put them to bed.
Just the one try, 7 minutes into this game for Frankie Robson. They'll like to put icing on the cake with another at the other end of the game, and once again that driving line out, inching forward. The referee, well, he's looking to hold his hand out, I think, for a penalty advantage, but that goes to deck 5 metres out from the Ayr try line. Logan again picks and goes round to the left of the breakdown and takes play to a couple of metres away from the Ayr try line, and the troops in massing, and over they go, and Kelso in for their second try.
as the clock ticks over 80 minutes. An outstanding second half performance for Kelso. It's Kelso 24, Ayr 10.
That was your man Bruce McNeil. No, the old head on his shoulders there, and saw the space to pick into just round the side of the ruck at the left hand side there, and a great score there for Kelso, and got their just rewards for the second half performance. So they obviously got a bit of a doing from Kev Hutton and Bruce at half time. They weren't really the better team in the first half, if we're being honest. Ayr were unlucky to be 16-10 down at half time, but my goodness, Bruce have been the better team in the second half.
Absolutely, yes. So that wins the game for Kelso. It just remains to be seen if this conversion goes over. Dwayne Patterson, he's only missed the one kick this afternoon. One missed penalty. This one 15 metres or so in from the stand side touchline. This could be the last action of the game. We've got 81 minutes on the clock here. Kelso 24, Ayr 10. Well, that one's going to fade across past the right upright. The referee has a quick glance at his watch and says we still have time to play.
Yeah, I think that's obviously the running clock, Bruce, and there hasn't been many stoppages though, so there can't be long left. I think there'll be the last couple of plays here, but as I've alluded to before, it's been a really convincing second half performance from Kelso this afternoon. They'll be really pleased. The coaching staff will be pleased how their pretty young squad, except a couple of older heads, have reacted after half time and grind this game out to a good compelling victory.
Angus Common comes forward and takes the restart, and Kelso looking to attack from just outside their own 22 here. I've got that 14-point buffer, 82 minutes on the clock. A loose pass goes back to Herdman. He's got Angus Roberts lurking out on the left touchline. It's 1 against 1. He cuts inside, goes through 2 tackles, spins his way forward, Angus Roberts, and takes play up to the Kelso 10-metre line. 5 metres in from the stand side touchline. Loose pass there by Melbourne. Couldn't be taken by Ayr. It was knocked on, double knock on, Kelso scrum.
Yeah, got away with that one a little bit, but you can do that when you're 24-10 up with the last couple of plays, and Keith Melbourne gave the little slip pass to try and put his mate through, and unfortunately just wasn't quite on tune with his mucker. But they're trying to play, it's great. As you said before, Angus Roberts is 100% man. He was flying up that touchline one-on-one, took his man on, kind of half tackled on the inside, but 110% commitment from the young winger.
Let's go back to Mansfield Park for the closing minutes of that game.
Yes, and Hawick will close out this game with 13 men. Kyle Brunton has been sent to the sidelines, a yellow card. There was an infringement as Currie were very much in attacking position. It looked like he maybe pulled an on-rushing Currie player back, and Hawick now with 13 men. They're also in the shadow of their own post. It's going to be a scrum to Currie. 8-man scrum against a 7-man scrum, and of course Currie have an extra man in the backs as well. So 5 metres from the Hawick line, Currie scrum, bang in front of the Hawick post. According to the stadium clock here, we're into the second last minute, and you would be delighted if you were a Hawick fan if they come away with this. And the Currie scrum has got the march on, and the referee's arm comes out, so it's a free ball here. It comes out to Forbes. Forbes is out to the winger. The winger is McGovern, and McGovern's in, and the referee's awarded it. Currie are in at the corner with little more than a minute to go, and the Currie fans are in raptures.
I find that really strange that the referee didn't even consult with the touch judge here. It was really on the line, wasn't it? The touch line. It was a big dive by the winger, the Currie winger, and he just got in front of Keane. An absolute devastation for Hawick. They just do not deserve that last minute try just now.
Yeah, down to 13 men. Cody McGovern, his 17th try of the season, and he admittedly took it ever so well. So the kick is to come. It'll be Jamie Forbes, the Currie standoff, and he's going to take the whole minute that's available to him, no doubt.
Yeah, disappointing, isn't it? Was speechless. The whole stand and the Hawick stand's speechless as well. At the end of the day, Sean needs to get his troops back up there again. They'll probably have enough time to take the kick off and see if they can recruit something from this game.
Yeah, so it's Hawick 14, Currie 16, kick to come. Right on the near touchline here at Mansfield. Begins his run up, Forbes. It's a decent kick, and it's over. And just how vital could that be? So that takes it out with penalty territory. Scott, it's Hawick 14, Currie 18.
Yeah, we need to go back up and score a try, as simple as that. Marty Carrier's back on, so the heavyweight's on. Just to try and keep the ball. They're more than capable. They've won 19 games this season. They're more than capable of recycling possession, and just see if they can get up the other end of the field and get that try.
Yeah, well, if they're going to do it, they're going to need to do it with 13 men. Kirkford kicks it off and puts it high. Gobbled in comfortably by a Currie forward. In the 22, and they're just starting to break tackles now. Currie, they've taken it out with the 22, 5 metres or so, and it's going to come back on the... Oh no, it's a turnover. So here come Hawick, Sean Muir, just outside the Currie, and there's a penalty. A penalty to Hawick.
There's no point in taking the 3 points, Robin. We'll kick it into the corner and then have a driving line out.
High drama here at Mansfield Park. The stadium clock is in the red, and as Scott Tomlinson predicted, Kirkford is going to put it to the corner. The crowd take it up a level again, so Kirkford sent it to the touchline. It's going to be a white line out, 10 metres from the Currie line, and a whole season comes down to this. You would not be surprised to see it become a 13-man maul, Scott.
Without doubt, get the ball to the back and have the patience to drive.
And the pressure, first of all falls on the broad shoulders of Ross Graham. So Ross Graham to throw into this line out. Finds his man cleanly. Now they set up. Starts to inch forward. It's moving forward here. Up over the 5 metre line. The backs now come in to this maul. It's just ground to a wee bit of a halt there. They might need to use it here, but Trundle's forward again. Now they come round the corner with Jay Linton. Hawick, actually, believe it or not, with 13 men. I've got men on this near side. McKean's on this near side. Right in the shadow of the Currie post now. One last volley. There's numbers over for Hawick. Oh, but Kirkford comes back in field. Ford with the dancing feet. Still up towards the 5 metre line. Looked to be taken highly there, Kirkford, but the referee's happy enough.
Just now patience, Robin. Patience again.
Now it comes back to the heavy artillery. Hawick, front of the posts. Sean Muir with another carry. Sean Fairbairn's in there as well. He's come on as a substitute. Now it's Welsh. Welsh to Carrier. Carrier trucks it up, but stoic defence by Currie. You have to say there's a Currie player in there. Now it comes back once again, this time to Connor Sutherland. Head down for Sutherland, up and over the 5 metre line. Hawick still maintaining possession here. Ross Graham, Currie bodies flying in like man possessed, but here come Hawick. Sean Muir, great defence by Currie, and there's a Currie player in over there. Bits came back on the Hawick side. Now Kirkford dummies and goes, needs support Kirkford as the Currie defence gobble him up. The crowd here in the stand, on their feet. Here come Hawick once again, trundling towards this Currie line. Once again it comes to Sean Muir, and once again the Currie bodies fly into him, but there's a penalty coming. Now, will the referee issue a card? No, he's going to award only the penalty. No card coming. So Hawick, decision to make here. They're 5 metres from the Currie line, just to the left of the posts.
What a game of rugby.
What a game of rugby indeed.
Unbelievable.
And what high drama to end the Premiership season. We've spoken about it so often. Hawick unbeaten throughout the regular season campaign. 17 wins and a draw, but it is all on the line here, and they've taken the tap and go. They're up towards the line. It's come back here. Now it's Jay Linton, so impressive all season, Jay Linton. He's stopped short. Now they come round the corner again. Maybe going slightly backwards here. Gareth Welsh as a snipe takes the territory back, so they're a metre or so, 2 metres, and the drive comes on. Ronan McKean's in an acre of space on this near side, but it's going to go up the jersey. They're going to go round the corner again. Such drama here to end the season. Back on the Hawick side it comes, and again they trundle it, and again the Currie bodies fly in. Still maintaining possession, Hawick. And another penalty's coming, so a free ball from which to play, and again McKean's in acres of space. Here they come to Ronan McKean. Ronan McKean is in, and the try has been awarded. The crowd go wild here at Mansfield Park. Ronan McKean. The supporters are on their feet.
Robin, I've never seen anything like it in my life. The kids are on the pitch.
The kids are on the pitch. Grown men are hugging each other. High drama here.
No pressure at all. Absolutely amazing. What a fantastic group of players, eh?
My word, would you believe it? I've seen a lot of things in my time watching rugby, Scott, but that must be the most gutsy, heart-filled thing I have seen by a rugby team.
13 players, the possession, the phases of play that they recruited and kept going. Absolutely amazing. It's 1918, so whatever happens with that kick, they are Scottish champions this year.
Absolutely remarkable scenes here at Mansfield. There is a kick to come.
Ronan Keaton, when you look back now, what a run he made to try and get that try in the corner. Unbelievable.
Kirkford, for what it's worth, is going to take this conversion right on the touchline. Stand side. It's drifting over. Kirkford has kicked the conversion, and Hawick are
13 men for the last 12 minutes. Scott Tomlinson, I have never seen the likes.
No, unbelievable. 13 men at the end. They are down and out. You know, you're in injury time, and now the crowd is on the field as well, saluting those players. And, well, the Fort Law Hawick have had an amazing history over the years. But, well, unbelievable today.
Hawick, Scotland's most successful, Scotland's most decorated rugby club, has another title to their name, and I'm nigh on speechless, Scott.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, it's just so thoroughly deserved. I mean, you have to say the second half fight back that they've had, and down to 13 players, to come back up to the other end of the field and batter on their door for 20, 30 phases, and to get that last minute try. I mean, it really was a tremendous achievement. You have to say, yes, I've had a great season, but to come back and win that game of rugby there in that respect just now.
Yeah, it is nothing short of what they've deserved. The regular season unbeaten, they won the semi-final last week. It would have been a tragedy for them not to come away with the spoils, but Scott, all credit to Currie.
Currie came here and played really well, you know, but at the end of the day, we have to talk about the character of those Hawick players this afternoon. I mean, they thoroughly deserved that opportunity. They took the opportunity. We said it would just be 1 or 2 chances, but wow, what a try to finish with.
So the grey old tune will be lit up tonight as Tearies rejoice. After 21 long years, Hawick are the tenants Premiership champions. It's finished here at Mansfield Park. Hawick 21, Currie 18.
Thank you very much indeed, Robin Purdy down at Mansfield Park. And of course, great news from a Kelso perspective here at Poynter Park. 24 points to 10 they've won. Let's hand you back to Bruce, who has the 2 captains.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. Drama at Mansfield Park, not quite the same drama here, but a cracking game. Kelso winning 24 points to 10, 2 tries apiece, the difference 14 points from the boot of Dwayne Patterson. I'm joined by Air Captain Cameron Rees. We start with the first half. I'm guessing you're probably disappointed that you didn't take all of your opportunities. Got 2 tries, but you had several others, and it was often just that final pass that didn't go to hand.
Tough game out there. So I think at half time we went in, we felt like we had the momentum because we had a lot of pressure, had good territory, and as you say, it was probably just that final pass that eluded us. But fair play to Kelso, they dug deep in that, and half time probably just came at a bad time for us.
Yeah, it was certainly a physical encounter, and I think the set piece was probably important today, and I imagine you feel your set piece didn't function as well as it could have.
Yeah, I mean, line out time probably disappointed, and we'll go back and have a look at that, but the heart the boys showed out there is just second to none, so I can't complain about it. We'll go back, look at the technicalities, but we'll go from there.
So you came into the day a point behind Kelso. You now trail them by 5 points. Both teams still have 2 games to play. Both of you have tricky trips to come. Kelso up at Highland. All you can really do is stay positive, keep training hard, and hope that Kelso slip up.
That's it. We've got 2 games to go up and get hopefully 10 points out of that. Not taking anything for given, but all we can do is beat the team that's in front of us, so that's what we're going to aim to do.
Cameron, thank you very much for coming up here and joining us at the back of the stand at Poynter.
Cheers.
And a quick change of headphones now as Bruce McNeil, Kelso player coach, has joined us, and I think cutting a more cheerful figure than Cameron there. You've got to be pretty happy with your side's performance there.
Yeah, really happy. Listen, it wasn't pretty a lot of the game, but we talked about giving that jersey the respect it deserved, and I think that's probably what pulled us through in the end. You know, getting off the ground, up to feet, and making sure we put the shots in and working really hard for each other. And that's been the fundamentals of our season so far. You know, things don't always go to plan, but we've got to make sure we stick together and play for the 80 minutes, and I thought we did that today.
Things looked a bit shaky in the first couple of minutes, didn't take the restart, couple of penalties, and then that Frankie Robson try, essentially out of nowhere against the run of play, I guess settled the nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did, but listen, to be fair, you know, when you're playing one of the best teams in the league, you've got to be on it for 80 minutes, and you can't get too far ahead of yourself. Went 13-0 up there, and then we switched off for 20 minutes basically. You can't do that. So it's pleasing to know that, you know, half time we came out, we had a rollicking in there, we came out and we fired some shots, and I think we controlled the second half fairly well. You know, we played in the right areas, and we put pressure on them, and we tried to keep the ball, and it was a very professional performance in the second half, certainly.
I just asked Cameron about the set piece from an Ayr point of view, if they were disappointed. From a Kelso point of view, I thought the set piece was superb today. I'm guessing that's another area that you're really happy with.
Yeah, we work really hard on that, and it's no individuals there. We just work hard as a team Tuesday, Thursday, and make sure that everybody knows their roles, and that's what it's all about. And absolutely credit to them. They fire shots at us, and they put us under some serious pressure there. They're a great team, and they're well drilled, and we're very fortunate there to come away with the win. But listen, the job's not done yet. We've got a couple of games to play yet, so we will not get carried away. But we'll enjoy tonight, and we'll make sure we go back to hard yards on this Tuesday.
24 points to 10. You would think we'd be talking about the attack, but I thought that was built on a really solid defence.
Yeah, as I said, we talked a lot about in the second half about playing the right areas. I thought we were maybe pushed into playing the wrong areas in the first half, and we're a very structured team, and we like to try and think we're a structured team and play in the right areas. And when we do that, we do put teams under pressure. So we've done that in the second half. And as I say, listen, straight off the pitch, it's hard to say, but when we were on the park, it felt like we were in the right areas and we controlled them. And listen, we got across the line then, but as I say, it's job's not done.
Yeah. A lot of youngsters out there. Graham Dodd's in commentary with me this afternoon. I think stealing his words, said it was a really mature second half performance by Kelso.
Yeah, listen, it's pleasing that people like Dodds is saying that, because he knows the game better than anybody. So it's hard to straight off the park to agree with Dodds, but you've got to agree with him. But listen, we got the win, and that's the most important thing. And luckily, I think obviously I didn't get anything there, did they? So. Nope. Pleasing thing. Listen, it's a different world down here when the crowds like that, they get behind you, make a slight break or put a big hit in, it just lifts you. No matter how tired you are or how sore you are, you get off the ground and you make sure you work for your teammates. And listen, we made sure that we done that today, and no matter the result, we just wanted to make sure that we fired loads of shots and we didn't have any regrets, and I think we've done that today.
The crowd was absolutely superb, really got behind you as well. There's almost a sense that was job done. You've already alluded to it. You know that you've got two difficult trips to come, in particular you've got to go up the road to Highland. They've only lost once at home this season, so you've got to just keep the boys' feet on the ground, I guess, keep training as you've been doing, and just make sure that you don't let anything slip at this stage.
Well, listen, I know every coach says this, but it is game by game, and we went in there and we got together and we says, listen, we'll enjoy tonight, but job's not done. I think we've got a week off, and next game's Heriots in the Cup, so we'll make sure we go and express ourselves there and have a bit of fun. There's not so much pressure under there, so we'll try some new things against Heriots in the Cup, but we'll make sure that basically we're building towards GHK, and listen, we're two games away from winning the league, which is a massive plus for us, but we just need to keep working hard and not get complacent.
Bruce, thank you very much for coming up and joining us.
Pleasure.
And you've caught your breath quickly for the old man that Graham Dodds here kept describing you as in commentary. Still a year younger than him, I think, aren't you? So thank you very much for that. We'll swap headphones again quickly. We'll just hear the final thoughts of the afternoon to Graham Dodds.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. I think it was, as I said to you in commentary, and as you kind of alluded to there, it was a good, solid second half performance from Kelso, and they did what they were asked of them, and they've got, Bruce said there, they've got two games to win the league, and I think realistically though, if they go to GHK and get a bonus point, that'll pretty much be job done, or at least they can go in that Highland game knowing they just need a point probably. So they'll not look at it like that so much, but I think if they get that next 5-pointer against GHK, which they really should, this Kelso team should do that, then I think that'll be the job done and league winners.
Yes, the table looks good certainly at this stage. They're 5 points ahead of Ayr at the top of the table now. They've got if we quickly add today's 14 points on top of that, it's a 58 points difference in the points. So as you say, 5 points against GHK. You think we do it regardless of what happens up at Highland, but let's not take anything for granted. It's certainly an entertaining afternoon here at Playback Park. 2 tries each, Frankie Robson and Bruce McNeil for Kelso, Scott Watson and Jack Howard for Ayr, and then 14 points from the boot of Dwayne Patterson. So Kelso win 24 points to 10.
Thank you very much indeed to Bruce Miller and also to Graham Dodds, our commentary team here at Playback Park. We're going to try and return to the Mansfield Park shortly. Presentation to Hawick, winning it at the death by 21 points to 18. What a match that was today. Let's have a look at some of the other scorelines in National 1. It ended Gala 43, Melrose 35. Lots of tries for you to watch on a little bit later tonight on Borders Rugby Television. GHK 53, Dundee 26. 36, Highland 34, Watsonians 27 was the latest score that we have on that one, and Stuart's Melville 24, Stirling County 51. In National 2, Cartha Queen's Park 17, Falkirk 68, Dumfries 10, Glasgow Accies 17, Kirkcaldy 35, Boroughmuir 29. That is a latest score. Latest score from Newton Stewart as well is 56 points to 12 to the league leaders. Peebles have lost at home to Lasswade, a big boost for Lasswade. Not so good news for Berwick, whose game was off today, but it's Peebles 10, Lasswade 12. And in East 3, the big one from Hawick Quinn's point of view, they were trying to protect an unbeaten record. Let's go and join Hugh Brown for his final report on that one.
Well, the Quins' unbeaten league record continues with 10 wins out of 10, but the home side, the Medics, certainly made them work hard for it. Leading by 12 points to 3 at half-time, it took 2 tries from Nathan Murray and Jack Watson for the Quins to get that bonus point, but at one stage there was just one score between the teams. But they get the bonus point, they stay very much in contention at the top of the table in East League Division 3. Final score here at Peffermill was Edinburgh University Medics 17, Hawick Harlequins 24.
Let's have a look at this league table then for National 1. It's Kelso on 87 points, Ayr on 82. Both have 2 games to go. They're both away from home. Kelso have to go to GHK, of course, and end at Highland on April the 15th. Melrose on 76, Gala 66, Highland 56, Dundee 46. Then it's Biggar 45 who didn't play today, GHK 40. Watsonians getting 2 bonus points, 34 for them. They're above Stirling County on 33. Aberdeen Grammar, who didn't play today, have 16 still. And Stu Mel are either on 11 or 12, depending on whether they got a try bonus. At the top of National 2, Newton Stewart 77, Falkirk 75, Glasgow Accies 72. It's Peebles 57, 48 for Lasswade now, who go above Berwick, who didn't play today. They're on 44. Dumfries ending on 43. And Kirkcaldy, of course, who won today as well. That puts them on an extra 5 points. They're on 47, so it really is tight in National League 2. We're going to bring back Bruce just briefly for the end of the programme. We're looking at scenes at the moment at Mansfield Park with Hawick lifting the trophy. 20 games out of 20, absolutely fantastic. But I have to say, even though Hawick have won it with the play-off, let's get rid of the play-offs and let's just make it a league, and have a really good, meaningful cup competition. Anyway, we've got Bruce Miller back in here. What a day of drama.
Oh, unbelievable. We're listening, of course, to what's happening down at Mansfield Park while watching the game here at Poynter Park, which was dramatic in itself, but nothing like the scenes down there. It looked that Hawick's chance had gone at the end, but quite miraculously got themselves those points at the end with 13 men on the field. And deservedly so. As I said at the start, it would be an absolute travesty if they hadn't won it. We're watching it on our screen just now, the trophy awarded. But it could have been oh so very different. And then you would have still been harping on about your playoffs.
Absolutely, and quite right too, I think. But tremendous here at Poynter Park. Great play from Kelso, who really got the battle won up front, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I said it in commentary. The set piece for me was key in that game. Ayr, how many times over the years have they won games and won leagues, gone through seasons with a really dominant set piece, and they just couldn't get going today. Their line out misfired completely, and they were being shunted backwards in the scrum. And yeah, it was just a really solid Kelso performance. Their defence was superb. Yes, Ayr butchered a couple of opportunities when they really should have scored. I'm not sure whether it would have changed the game in the end or not, but Kelso must be really happy with their defence. As well as the set piece. Their attack, Bruce suggested they might try 1 or 2 things they might have liked to have been able to fire a bit more in attack today, but yeah, they're not going to complain with that 5 points advantage at the top of the league. And as I said when I interviewed Bruce there was a feel among the crowd that was job done, but there's no way guys as experienced as Kevin Atherton and Bruce McNeill will let the players believe that.
Well, our closing headlines tonight: in the Premiership Play-off, Hawick are this season's champions of Scotland after a win by 21 points to 18. In National 1, victories for Gala, GHK, Highland, Kelso and Stirling County. In National 2, it was a win for Lass Wade at Peebles, which certainly makes it even tighter in that division. And in the East League 3, we're still waiting on Earlston against Inverleith. They were leading the last we'd actually heard. Hawick Quins, though, winning at Edinburgh University Medics. Well, next week there's no programme due to it being the Super Saturday week of the Six Nations, but we'll be back for a special on Monday, the 20th of March, when we bring you live coverage of the Border League final from Netherdale between Melrose and Selkirk. The next Saturday show, well, that's on 25th of March, when it's Scottish Cup quarter-finals day, and we'll be hopefully coming to you from Rayburn Place with the mouth-watering game between Edinburgh Accies and Hawick. But that's in the future. From me and the team, a very good afternoon.